I come to you from Nerdrotic. I am live in Los Angeles, California, on the road, dedicated live streamer. I know everybody and their mama is streaming tonight, so I thank you for choosing us. We have some special guests, and we'll start to, well, I'm going to say it's my left, but you're right, but somebody else's top or bottom. That sounded bad. Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers, what's up?
What's up, Geeks and Gamers? It's Jeremy coming to you with another Friday Night Tights live stream. Thank you for allowing me here, Gary. You kind of like move your microphone for a minute. I got like the preacher look going there for a minute. He's too fancy for us. He's too fancy.
I had to dress up. I was going on the set today. You know, we'll talk about that in a second.
Well, hang on. I'm by the Nerdrotic symbol tonight, so.
Oh, right.
Hang on.
There you go.
There we go.
There, right there. Now stay there the whole night, and that'll be fine. All right. And then we to below me, but not that he's below me because he's awesome. He is
below
drunk.
me. Did you say blow me? That's
no.
Gary. Come on. Are you too Hollywood? You're already too Hollywood for us.
Oh my God. Well, I'm pretty close to West Hollywood right now. So we have Drunk 3PO. What's up, man?
What's up? Thank you for having me back again with all these amazing people representing the family tree here, right there.
That is a sexy shirt. It makes you 10% more handsome.
That's what I heard.
Yeah. So thanks for showing up.
Thank you for putting it on your Instagram. Whoever runs your Instagram account, that was cool.
That would be Mrs. Nerdrotic. She is she's awesome.
She grabbed my picture and she's like, I'm gonna use it. I'm like, can't say no. So off we go.
And for the very first time, we have a sports ball player. He kicked a lot of goals. Kicked a lot of goals. And hit a lot of touchdowns. He is Uche, the observant lineman. What's up, Uche?
What's going on, everybody? It's your observant lineman, Uche Waneri, and I'm thanking Nerdrotic for having me on his stream. Of course, got the whole squad on here, Drunk 3PO, and that asshole Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers. Should be a good time. Should be a good night. I'm happy to be here. And let's get this thing started.
Get it started. First question I have to ask you is I actually do know about football. Unfortunately, I was a Chargers fan my entire life. Did you ever play in San Diego?
Oh, yeah. We played against the Chargers once in Jacksonville, once in San Diego. We got blown the fuck out in San Diego.
I was at that game.
Oh, were you?
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Oh, so you were saying, okay, so yeah, we got blown out that game.
Sorry.
Yeah, we did terrible on the West Coast. Our history on the West Coast is terrible. I don't think we've won a game on the West Coast in our team's history.
It's okay. At least you didn't play for Dean Spanos. Guy's an asshole. So I'll just say it right now. I hate him. So he ripped my heart out. He took my team to LA, and even though they're playing in a soccer stadium. So how pathetic is that? So welcome Dr. Meatball, Taylor Potter, and Adam of Grayskull, and Lord Lovecraft. And who else do we have? Oh, I got a touch screen. This is great. 16-bit mascot, Bradley, Mikey with that Joker face. You better get rid of that Joker face. YouTube is knocking anything Joker down right now. Mm-hmm. The Access Media has turned on that thing. I was kind of worried.
Did you hear the news that Warner Brothers has banned all media from the red carpet?
Oh, good.
Really?
Oh my God. Can they do that forever? Can we make that a thing?
I mean, this is getting crazy, man. My kid came up to me and she's like, "Hey, these kids at school are saying that we shouldn't go see Joker because people are threatening to, do bad stuff, violent stuff." And I'm like, this is even reaching private school I have my kid at now.
Crazy.
Like, this is crazy, man. It's gotten out of control. Every Joker video that we upload to Geeks and Gamers gets demonetized. It's wild. This is some fascinating shit, man. So what's going on with the red carpet thing? I have not heard about that, Uche.
Yeah, I actually just saw Three Buck Theater did a video on it about
Mundane Matt.
Yeah.
He probably saw both sides of the argument. Yeah.
He actually sided with Warner Brothers. He said this is ridiculous, and he's glad that Warner Brothers has kind of put their foot down and said, well, if y'all are going to sit here and try and pull our movie down over completely unfounded speculation and people who haven't even seen the movie, much, if you've seen it and you have an opinion, that's one thing.
Yep.
If you haven't seen it yet, you're still part of this push, and you're pushing police agencies to have a bigger presence during the night of the opening. Then Warner Brothers, he was on the side of Warner Brothers saying that he's fully behind them and putting down their foot and banning all writing, all recording, all video, all interviews, banned from the red carpet.
Jeez, this is a classic, and you guys know I don't drop SJW NPC like all the time. It's something I save for special moments just like this, because this is a classic SJW move. It's called fear manipulation. All right. Mm-hmm. So what, especially if you're working one, everybody has been around a person like this where you're scaring me, and they do that because they're not really scared. They're trying to they're trying to manipulate you, have power over you. And this is the access media stirring this shit up, trying to create this fracking narrative that there are bands of incel terrorists in this country, and they're going to mobilize. Or, I mean, the military got a memo. That is the most ridiculous. When somebody showed me that on a live stream, I thought I was being fracking trolled, and it was real. And you're getting hysterical, people. Stop. It's just a movie. And, what did they say? Why didn't this happen for John Wick? Taxi Driver has been out for decades. That's a movie that, I mean, you want to talk, that would be more applicable than Joker, which I haven't seen. So I have no idea. I don't know. What do you think, Drunk 3PO?
Oh, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's the whole, I mean, when I first heard that people were upset, like, oh, great, this is going to make us feel sympathy for crazy white guys, that do bad things. When that Twitter storms just started hitting, they're like, that's all we need to see is for people to have sympathy over like crazy white people. It's just like, here it comes. Here it comes. So that's the little wave. It's gonna come in like a tidal wave, and then the most ridiculous things that just come out. I mean, where people are saying like this is gonna cause people to want to do terrible things, and it blows my mind. It blows my mind.
I will apologize in advance for the chat because it's gonna be a mess tonight because I'm here because of my live stream yesterday.
Was that the one that disappeared for some reason? No,
I mean, I unlist all my live streams.
I tried to find it.
It was a mess last night, and Daddy Waffle happening. That's and there's going to be a lot of waffle references.
As long as it's not blue waffle, I'm fine.
Yeah, it's happening. It's that we changed the title to the stream of Daddy Waffle happening, and then hashtag Daddy Waffle happening. We're gonna do a live stream, and we're gonna do a live watch through for the happening with Mark Wahlberg now, just because. Poor Anna, during her live stream, they were just completely just overrunning her chat with the waffle shit. She's like, what is going on with the waffles? Because she didn't watch my live stream. So, yeah, they're already here. So I apologize in advance.
Well, hey, you're welcome here. I love waffles. But it's like, again, if it's do not look up blue waffle on do not Google that ever. Okay, you're going to be sorry, buddy.
Blue waffle.
No, don't do. Oh no!
Can't be that bad.
Oh, I'm waiting for his reaction here. Let's just wait.
I need an image.
No, you don't. I told you.
Get it off. Get it off. Oh!
Oh my God. I'm sorry.
You need some eye drops?
You okay? Don't forget to erase your history.
Why couldn't it just be a blue waffle?
No, it can never be that simple. It's the internet. It's 2019. I am truly sorry, Uche. And I have to apologize. I'm holding my microphone. I forgot my stand, so I'm like drunk 3PO. I'm gonna be like a Vegas announcer. Hey, everybody. So yeah, don't look that up. But okay. So the one thing I noticed about the Joker videos from everybody is I've noticed the views have been it's been completely crushed. I saw like a quartering video got like half the normal views that he would normally get on one of those videos. So there's definitely something going on. And YouTube will do that. So I mean, it's a mad world we live in. It's just a damn movie. It's going to make more people watch it eventually,
Exactly.
but it'll probably do very well, at the back, with Blu-rays and downloads. But I'm going now. I'm going to go opening night for sure. We got to find a way. We'll be in New York, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Looking forward to it, man. I've got so much going on. I've got so scheduled to hang out with Cecil and do a car video with Cecil. So that's going to be amazing. And then Sir Ruin of House Roundhead, who just commented, we're going to be hanging out with him, and he's actually taking me to the Patriots Redskins game on Sunday. Nice. So there's so many people that like Gary. We got people asking us left and right, like, what we're doing. Like, I'm like, I have no idea. We're just kind of.
Sir Ruin has got a couple of good ideas. He emailed me about a meetup near a Shake Shack. I think we should just do that.
Yeah. I got that email too.
Yeah. So we in Brooklyn, and I'm like, dude, I won't even know where the hell I'm going there. So I'm just going to tag along with you guys until you don't want me around. So
Let's do it.
But yeah, the Joker thing it's lame, and it shows the uselessness of the access media. And I think all of us have done videos pretty much. I mean, we can really do. We could dedicate our channels to the uselessness of the access media. You know how Jeremy at the Quartering pretty much goes after largely his channel, video game access media. I mean, we essentially do the same thing, could do the same thing till the end of time, because they just get dumber. Comix Division sent me, who's kind enough to send me a bunch of articles because I was on the road today. And I love the Mary Sue, their article on Kevin Feige. Whatever you think about Kevin Feige's Star Wars thing, the one thing you won't think is boring.
I'll tell you what about that. I have a strong opinion about this Kevin Feige thing. I think we all know why, but I think it's too little, too late for Star Wars. Just to be honest, it's too late. There's too much damage done to the brand. There is too much ill will from the studio to the fans, and vice versa. And I mean, Kevin Feige. It's a different animal. Star Wars is a different beast than what he did with the MCU. You can't do the same thing with Star Wars. You can't. The only way you could possibly run down the same route with Star Wars as you did with the MCU is by recanonizing the entire EU. That's the only way. And they've already made that commitment that everything that happened in the EU after Return of the Jedi is no longer canon. So they'd have to go back and double back on that. But I think it's too little, too late. Too much. I mean, there is so much going against Star Wars at this point. They'd be better off shutting down the feature film portion of the brand for the next 4 to 5 years before they even think about bringing out another movie, if they want to try and regain any goodwill with the fans. Because at this point, we all look at it and we're like, Kevin Feige, how much deeper of a hole is he going to dig them into? Because Kathleen Kennedy's still there. She's still the boss. Unless they fire her, it ain't going to change nothing.
I personally believe that, and I've said this in my videos, and I have nothing to go on other than my assumption. I believe that Kevin Feige is being brought in to replace her, and I believe she's gone. She's going to be gone after The Rise of Skywalker, and I believe he'll take over as the president of Lucasfilm. That's just a hunch, and we'll see what happens. I don't think that's necessarily a good move, by the way. I'm not saying, and look, that's not me. I'm not taking anything away from Kevin Feige. what he's done with the MCU is incredible. While I don't love it I like a lot of the MCU and I like the payoffs. I don't like the let's make 5 films that are super, super, super safe that are all designed to build up to the big film. So there's really no stakes in any of them. But you can't deny what the man's built. It's absolutely incredible. But I'm not looking for that in Star Wars. I want every movie to exist. That every movie that comes out, I want it to matter, and that doesn't happen in the MCU. Every movie doesn't matter in the MCU. But I think he will take over after Rise of Skywalker. That's kind of been the rumor. She's going to take, she's going to be gone after that. Yada yada yada. So we'll see. I will say my Lucasfilm contact did tell me, and they did not tell me about this Kevin Feige thing, but once it announced, they told me that they've been aware of this for over a year of Kevin Feige. Now, that I didn't ask any more questions, but that statement tells me that there's a lot more than just Kevin Feige's just popping in to do a movie. If they've known this for a year, then he's there to do more than just, do a movie.
Yeah, build a roadmap.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't it a little over a year ago that the Kathleen Kennedy being fired rumor started popping up because of Randolph, and then it was supposed to happen by September of last year, and it didn't. And according to Grace Randolph, it was because nobody wanted the job. But I recently watched, and I'm sure a lot of you did, saw the Emergency Awesome video. And in the beginning, he plays a full interview with Kevin Feige on that Star Wars show.
Mm-hmm.
And, it could be all bullshit fed to Kevin Feige, but he seriously looked and sounded like a bigger Star Wars fan than Marvel. I did hear something that I hadn't heard before. I heard that when he was talking about Marvel, and maybe he was just, again, he's a producer, he's a schmoozy LA dude. So they tend to favor whoever's in the room, whoever's right in front of them. You're always the best friend. You're awesome. And then they forget about you once you're out of sight, out of mind. But he was on that Star Wars show and he said, well, he basically said he didn't know Marvel as much as he knew Star Wars.
Yeah.
In no uncertain terms. That was the first time I heard that. So I always thought he was a lifelong Marvel fan. Now, maybe he was talking about like Guardians of the Galaxy and stuff, which nobody knew. And if anybody tries to tell you that they knew the Guardians of the Galaxy prior to the late 80s, they're full of shit. But I mean, like it was weird. He looked very excited to talk about it. And he talked about the dark period of Star Wars, which was, right after Jedi and prior to the Zahn novels. There was help me, Drunk 3PO. With pretty much the start of the EU, that board game, it was a book. Yeah. So there was I forgot the name of the publisher, but they published
on that one.
They published a book in the mid 80s that pretty much was the first thing that gave background and names to all the characters.
We need Brian for that.
Yeah.
Let me check my
Comix Division. If he was here, he'd know because he was into it. And I forgot it, but that's the thing that actually, helped bridge Star Wars to the 90s. It was pretty much the only thing they had, because after the Power of the Force line ended in 1985, and that's when my interest died. Once the toys were done, I was like, I don't care about games. But and somebody in the chat will probably know. But that was what carried it over. He had some pretty decent knowledge about that. Again, it could be fed, but I think, I said in my video, I wasn't sure. I see him doing other things. I think this is almost a step down for him. I don't think it's a good move. I think it's
a lateral step. It doesn't really go either way for him.
And
well, it with the position Star Wars is in, he could be a hero. Star Wars is a disaster right now. Okay, so I know you've been busy, Gary. Did you hear about Jeremy John's video?
No, what's that?
Oh man,
he fucking went. He went in on it.
His heart
Jeremy Johns probably gave, in my opinion, and I say this as someone that often labels me the voice of the upset Star Wars fan. I think Jeremy Johns might have just made the most important video that has been made since the whole debacle of Lucasfilm and Disney. I mean, that was a powerful video. I mean, it was powerful.
Yeah. He kind of lost faith in all of it.
Yeah, he basically he took ownership, and he said he even showed a picture of himself watching the Force Awakens trailer, and how he talked about he loved the Force Awakens, and he's like, you see this stupid ass right here? Yeah, he said I fell for it. I fell for it just like so many others did. I fell for the Force Awakens. He said there were some people that saw it with the Force Awakens. Some people got to the Last Jedi. They're like, F that. He said, and I'm just sitting there going, well, let me process this, because he was trying. And with this news with George Lucas and Bob Iger, that finally broke him. Like, he's finally been broken, because he's like, George didn't deserve this. George did not deserve to be betrayed. It was an amazing video. So Gary, you got to watch it after the stream. It is.
I absolutely will. I like that guy quite a bit.
Yes.
Yeah, I like Jeremy Jones.
So it's funny, I cut things out of my videos, and what I cut out of this morning's video, because I was just in a freaking hurry, was I said, listen, my EU knowledge is comic books. That's it. Okay, it's just the the Dark Horse comic books, and not even the new Marvel comic books, the older Marvel comic books. So it's very limited. But I said what Uche said. I said, if you recanonize the EU, you have a chance. That's the only chance you have. That is it. Because that is your hardcorest of hardcore fans that will stick around and go, okay, and will give you yet another chance. But considering what they did to George, and as I said before, you can't put the soy milk back in the titty. Luke is destroyed. You destroyed your main. I mean, like, Han and Luke are destroyed. There's no one doing that. So you're pretty much starting from scratch. You might as well create new characters at this point if you're not going to recanonize. I don't know. What do you think, Drunk?
No, I agree. I mean, like they've already you take your franchise player and just that was the whole thing for me is Luke. I was just like, my goodness, man, how in the world? The interesting with this whole Kevin Feige thing is when the news broke, you see all the little Avengers come out saying, hey, put me in Star Wars. Chris Evans.
Dude, if they put Brie Larson in this shit, it is for real over. It is over.
I'm like, should we just get Thanos, Should we just get Thanos a lightsaber at this point and just put it all together. Just mix them all up at this point and since he likes working with those people and just mix the worlds. I mean, I don't. I have mixed emotions about the whole thing, and I will say this: that now that Iger dropped the book, and I don't know who his PR person was that thought that was a good move to say, "Hey, Lucas felt betrayed." Maybe because rich people like that live above the bubble that I live in. It makes the Force Awakens and everything else less appealing.
I think that it was a sideways apology to George Lucas. If you read it, he kind of owns up to, he should have prepared George for what they were going to bring to him so that he wouldn't have been as angry. He could have handled it better. I mean, there was some sympathy and some regret there about how that was handled.
Being angry is one thing. Being disappointed is another. The word betrayed is basically saying you made a promise to me and you stabbed me in the back. That's a strong word. Betrayed.
Yeah, betrayed is strong.
I mean, he could have said anything else. He could have just said Lucas was very upset. We didn't go this route. Lucas, he had displeasure that we were going somewhere else. But you throw in the word betrayed. I mean, you think about E2 Brute. I mean, Judas. I mean, all those words come to mind about being betrayed. That's a big matzo ball out there. That's a big one hanging out there. So it just leaves a bad taste in your mouth for any and all Disney Star Wars movies that are out there now, for this whole thing. It's very sad. It's very sad.
Well, I'm sorry, Gary.
Oh, so I was just going to say real quick with George Lucas, you know what he's going to see in that book? He's not going to see the apology. This is just me guessing from my, meeting the guy for 15 seconds. So I'm obviously an expert. That what he's going to see is that he told everybody in the world that George got mad. He embarrassed George. I mean, people don't want to, like if I was George, I would not be happy about that being out, that I got pissed off about that. That's part of the whole agreement. I'm sure they had a huge agreement that he was going to besmirch. Now, no, they had a handshake agreement that they said in the book that he wouldn't besmirch Star Wars out loud.
Yeah, you're right.
And there's the guy, he just had the handshake, embarrassing the man. Like, again, that was a very sideways apology. I think that's a great analogy for it. It was a sideways apology, kind of a backhanded. Yeah. Sorry, Jeremy, go on.
No, I was just saying, I mean, at this point, I mean, the foundation is absolutely has a massive, crack in it at this point. And you really can't deny that Star Wars is broken. It's absolutely broken at its core. I think the people that are still wanting to pretend that everything is okay are getting desperate. They're getting in denial, and they're starting to ramp up their attacks on people that have been on the right side of this argument now. And now George Lucas essentially seems to be. I know George Lucas is never going to say he's Phantom Menace. I understand that, but I'm just saying
he is.
I mean, he is. He's basically Phantom Menace. I mean, George.
Can we mail him a shirt? Can we mail him a shirt?
I mean, yeah.
Somebody already has.
Yeah, he's basically the Phantom Menace. And look, I know for a fact, and again, I don't talk about it much just because there's just certain information that I don't want to talk about until it becomes public. But I know that Lucasfilm is just as divided as the fandom. Of course. Inside of it. I mean, I know that. I've been told that multiple times by multiple people within Lucasfilm. It is broken because there's the side that, there's definitely some old school OG Star Wars fans there that are disgusted by what's going on. And then obviously you have this new millennial, Star Wars fans that are all in it for the identity politics and the representation bullshit. And of course they're just oblivious to it. They don't get it and they don't care, because at the end of the day, if Star Wars goes into the toilet, these people that are pushing identity politics and propaganda, it doesn't matter to them. They're just going to find another series like Star Trek that they've already ruined. They'll move into Marvel. They don't care. They're the Flood from Halo. And I know that's even disrespectful to say to Halo. Apologies to the Flood from Halo, because it is disrespectful. But it is. It's like they just move from one thing to the other, just destroying it with no regard for what they're destroying. And when it's destroyed, it doesn't matter to them. And it's bullshit, and it's just, it drives me crazy. So
I think what was really disgusting is when you hear the stories, like even I'll just take one for example, like what they did to Akbar. The guy who played Akbar, like Ryan Johnson, was like, "Can you come out and make your little meme joke, and just say it's a wrap?" While the guy was like, "Man, I'm in tears that you just destroyed my character," and then you see the argument from the other side where they're just like, Akbar was just a meme. Why do you guys even care about that character? You never cared about that character, so why do you care about him now when his feelings were hurt? And I'm sitting here, are these people nuts? That's what they don't understand is people like me that love Star Wars, and Indiana Jones and all that stuff. We loved every single character had some importance to the story. Like you look at the original trilogy, it's like everybody had a major role. C-3PO had a major role. Like did the Ewok thing. Okay, whether you liked it or not, he had a major role. You can name characters and they had a role, a purpose. And yet then you see the Disney trilogy and it's just like, we just want you to say go women, and we just want you to say this, and now like these people don't have roles. I mean, you could have take Finn and Rose Tico out of The Last Jedi. It wouldn't have changed the movie one bit. It wouldn't have changed. They did nothing in that film to help develop any characters, to develop the story. Nothing would have changed. Nothing. You could take that. You could edit them all out, and it wouldn't have changed the movie one bit. You can't do that to the other films. You just can't do it. So
yeah, Akbar.
Sorry, am I being too loud? I apologize.
No, you're good.
You're fine.
You're always too loud.
Man. Akbar, dude, that was probably one of the low key. That was one of the biggest gut punches of the entire trilogy. Was next to Luke, Akbar was one of the most disrespectful things I ever seen. I was sitting in the theater and he just blows out the back of the fucking ship. I'm like, was that Akbar?
and then hearing how they treated him, how Rian Johnson treating him, and that tells you everything about that dude's character.
Even in Rogue
they didn't
One,
think
dude.
we would notice. They didn't think we would notice. That's the problem.
I mean,
think
he's
they
a big
won't
ass
notice.
crab, motherfucker. Like, you see him flying out the back of the ship. I saw that.
Exactly. We all did. I'm like, did Akbar just die?
I was like, wait. That was Akbar.
See,
Akbar has one of those lines in every Star Wars movie. May the Force be with you. Blah, 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 blah. Rogue One. I was like, hell yeah, they got Akbar in there. May the Force be with you, Rogue One. Boom. And then I'm like, there goes Akbar like this, and then fucking there goes Leia just backwards rolling all the way. I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
And that's that current crop of Hollywood who doesn't think about story or narrative. Not to get boring on you, but this is what happened. They are so into what can we have as a GIF, what can be a quick scene loaded on social media, what can we just get the shock? It's shock value. They don't give a shit about narrative or story anymore, and that's how these things are made. You know, the reason we know who Admiral Akbar is not to get again old man on you, is we had to wait 3 years for Star Wars movies. So imagine a 12-year-old waiting, or a 10-year-old. I was a 10-year-old waiting for Return of the Jedi. It was an eternity. Han Solo was frozen in carbonite. So I picked through everything I could find out to get as much out of that movie as I could, to saturate everything out of it as I could. So and then Jedi came out. Any speaking character was a new character that was exciting. It's like, oh, somebody with a line. I mean, because we cared about action figures who were in the background of something that were in there for 3. I mean, Christ, there was a legend built around Boba Fett, who didn't do shit. But I mean, he was still great, and I loved it. And we're gonna get super chats in a second. Sorry, folks, but the disrespect there, and I mean, I'm happy that the Access Media is recognizing this. Other people are recognizing this. Everybody's welcome in the Fandom Menace. It doesn't matter when you got here. Once you reach, Jeremy Johns, I just feel bad for the guy, because that's how I felt after I saw The Last Jedi. I mean, The Force Awakens, I was kind of done, but The Last Jedi, was really, really done. And honestly, I still don't care. I will chronicle Star Wars' demise, and it bothers me that they still screw over their very loyal fan base, but I don't care. I mean, Star Wars it means about as much to me as like Falcon Crest or Dallas or Magnum PI. That's what Disney has done.
Think about this. Like,
go ahead. Go ahead.
Sorry, man.
No, you're good.
If you look at the EU, because one of the things that really kind of took me to the next level as a Star Wars fan was the EU. And I read The Last Command. I read Dark Force Rising. I read Tarkin. I read Thrawn Alliances. I read Visions of the Future. I read Spectre of the Past, Thrawn Treason, Thrawn, Heir to the Empire. I mean, a lot of the characters that we're talking about have big roles in these stories. Akbar has a huge role. Yeah. Huge role in The Last Command. Yeah. He has a huge role in Dark Force Rising. You know what I mean? Like, there's other species that were never introduced. Tarkin's novel has huge background information about Tarkin and his younger days and his years in the Academy of the Empire. Like, these are things that just draw you closer to the characters, and Akbar was a huge part of that. And you would never know that if you looked at anything beyond the original trilogy. You would never know. And it's crazy, dude.
And I heard people dismiss Akbar when that whole thing, when the controversy about how he was treated went down. And it's like they didn't even know he was in the Clone Wars. They had no idea.
No, they didn't even.
They're just like, he was just all he was a meme. And you're like, you're an idiot. You really are an idiot.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, dude. Akbar is one of the crucial characters in the Last Command. Which also included Mara Jade, also included the Nogri alien race, which has not even been introduced in any of the movies. The Nogri were huge.
We need to get Uche. I need to get you on with Ryan. Y'all need to talk some EU. So,
I love the EU. Man. Their stories were awesome.
There's my EU. I just my old the Ballantine novels. When those things came out, we were so goddamn happy. It's like something. They're giving us something, and we had the Star Wars comics, which were cool as hell. But all right, so we're gonna read a couple super chats here, and then we can keep talking about Star Wars. I mean, this is Disney Star Wars Reckoning. I think God, I was killing myself for a title this morning for the damn video, and I came up with this one like that because that's what's happening right now. Well, a reckoning.
I wanted to say that, and then I'm sorry if I cut anybody again. Forgive me. This
jump in, dude. Jump in.
It gets me all messed up. But this is Disney's problem. This is why Galaxy's Edge is not popular. This is why these movies, all this stuff. This is why. So you take us, people that are older, whatever, that fell in love with Star Wars, we fell in love with these characters, and then you screw over our characters, and then you expect us to take our children, to take our family, to say, yeah, they don't care about our characters no more, but maybe you'll care about them. It's ridiculous. If I don't care about Star Wars, I'm not taking my family to go see Star Wars anymore either. So then they wonder why there's articles coming out on Bloomberg and all these other things that say, this generation does not care about Star Wars anymore. Well, why would they? When you've taken the Star Wars that we love and you've destroyed it, then you want us to push it, to the next generation. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous. I don't understand why they don't get that. So I don't understand. But that's just me.
It's not just you; it's all of us. At this point.
We've all been screaming our heads off for a few years here, and they just listen. The fandom is collectively saying, "I told you so," but they're doing it in the kindest way because we're the ones affected, and there's nothing worse than feeling like you wasted your time. It's embarrassing, When Doctor Who made its change, I was embarrassed to be a Doctor Who fan. And it felt like the old days. It felt like the old days of being a nerd when you had to hide your comic books. Or when I finally, one day had this rare moment of pride and wore a Star Wars shirt to school and got my ass beat. So, and that happened because I was wearing a Star Wars shirt. Now it was 7. So we're talking like an 8-year-old beating a 7-year-old. It's like a normal day. But and it's Disney's made it embarrassing now, and and the cool factor is long gone, and that is on you, Disney. And you had people telling you over and over again, and you just wanted to take shots at them. Apocrypha for $1.99 says Spidey is back in the MCU is a sign of desperation. Would you agree with that? That's for one, that is absolutely news to me. Apocrypha, Jeremy and Uche just told me that prior to the live stream. What are your guys' take on that real quick?
I think someone said it best on my video. By the way, I recorded a terrible, pathetically low quality, low production video where I was walking. I got out of my Z car. I'm walking into the mall. It's 58 seconds and it's got 25,000 views. What the fuck? But so I recorded my reaction. I basically said it. What I'm going to say now. This was a work. It just like in wrestling. This was a work. Spider-Man was never gone. This was all a work. This was all business. They had this all planned out. I'm sure that they needed to come to some type of compromise, but I think we all knew deep down that Disney wasn't going to let Spidey walk away from the MCU, and Sony knows that Disney's going to make them too much money. That's all they really cared about. So I think it was a work the whole time. I think that Doomcock and his sources are accurate. I think they're going to use Tom Holland to, make Brie Larson more likable. I think that's 100% accurate. And so I think this was all planned.
Who's this Keep It Real cat? It's got this Uncle Tom definition in the chat over and over and over and over and over.
He just got muted. So
thank you, mods.
Mods are on point. So
mods are on point. Yeah, keep that shit out of here.
So this is Team Geeks and Gamers here. We got each other's backs, bro.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but yeah,
it's okay. It's probably a 12-year-old. I blame his parents. Talking Pulp for $5 says, why are Wendy's large Frosties sold in medium cups? I mean, what the fuck, Gary? I know, right? I haven't had Wendy's in 3 decades, but I totally get what you're talking about. But thanks for the $5. So yeah, Star Wars, Spider-Man being back. I think he would have been better off at Sony.
I think so too, but I don't think that ever was going to happen.
No, I think you're right.
I just look at the MCU is done. I don't really know what the point of. I feel like they should just release, individual movies as part of their course going forward, because the whole interconnected universe. I mean, that's done. Endgame was the end game of that, was it not?
Yeah, unless you're going to bring in. See, the thing is, you're right. Because they have to do it bigger now. And this is why, Red Letter Media said this about J.J. Abrams. He goes too big, too fast. and that's why he burns everything out. They now have to go bigger. Galactus is bigger. Galactus is bigger than Thanos, but you're skipping a phase, and there's going to be no big villain in this phase that we know of yet. And it's going to be prequel. It's going to be a prequel story. And yeah, it's going to be like it's going to be phase boring. I mean, the MCU will be boring as hell. I mean, that will be the most offensive thing, is it's just going to be really homogenized, meh. But I think they're going to be changing a lot. Spider-Man's coming back. They canceled Ghost Rider on Hulu, and I bet, well, I don't know. They might bring him back in the films, but he's a hard one to sell internationally because there's some countries who don't want movies with flaming skulls. You can guess which countries those are. You know, it's a weird time we live in. We have to. Our art is so restricted now, and it's self-restriction, and it's SJW puritanism restriction. That's making, that's what DC was on the right path. 100%. They were going to make separate movies, and then, they'll see what hit, and they'll take it from there. But the guy who was, I keep forgetting his name, but the guy who was in charge got Me Too'd out of there by J.J. Abrams' wife. And his name was not Walter Hamada. It was
Sujihara.
Yeah.
Kevin Sujihara. Yeah.
Kevin Sujihara was on the right path with DC. The guy always came in under budget. He did horror stuff, and he always.
Hamada is the one that was part of New Line. He was with what's his name from Aquaman, the director of Aquaman.
Yeah,
James Wan.
And James Wan, and then Hamada, and then there was the guy who was in charge of who just got Me Too'd out of there.
Sujihara was the guy who fucked off Zack Snyder. That was what he did. The one who got.
Yeah, again, he had the DC on the right path.
Good, Uche. We don't want Zack Snyder's garbage.
Hey, I like Watchmen. I like Watchmen, so I can't say much. I'm kind of on both sides. I like Watchmen. I think it's a good movie. So,
see, this is where they say
Snyder cut.
This is where they say, like, Jeremy has his echo chamber. All right, I just brought a 6'5" former offensive lineman, giant black dude on my team that disagrees with me on Zack Snyder. I met him in person. We got a yelling match in a bar, and he's on the Geeks and Gamers team because that's how we roll. He's wrong, but at least he's here, and he can.
Right, I'll tell you right now, Zack Snyder is a better director than J.J. Abrams. I'll say that over and over again. Zack Snyder is a better director than J.J. Abrams. He's at least made good. Okay, what has J.J. Abrams made a movie better than 300?
Yeah, I hate 300.
Oh, I
hate
love
300.
Oh, you're crazy.
No, Mission Impossible 3 and Super 8 are better than 300.
Game on
Super 8.
I love Super 8.
Super 8. Oh, yeah. Stranger Things did Super 8 better.
I think Zack Snyder's best movie is Watchmen, though. By the way, Watchmen's easily his best
Watchmen's
movie.
Great.
Yeah.
Watchmen's great. Watchmen is a panel-for-panel adaptation of the Watchmen novel.
Yeah, I can't stand.
I hate that.
Man of Steel is one of the best superhero movies ever made. Period. One of the best ever.
I'm sorry. What was that
again?
Sorry,
I'm a diehard DC fan.
Sorry.
Man of Steel is one of the best superhero movies ever made.
I mean, if the only superhero movies made are Man of Steel and Catwoman, I would give you you got an argument. So.
Tell me outside of the Dark Knight trilogy, give me one superhero origin movie that's better than Man of Steel.
Superman the movie.
Superman the movie.
Look, that Donner shit is so from a different era of movies. It would never work in
literally pretty much any origin movie.
Iron Man.
Ace Ventura, Pet Detective.
Ace Ventura, Pet Detective. Blank Man.
Meteor Man. Meteor Man.
Mystery Man.
Blasphemy! Heresy!
I could name. Yeah, the chat could probably name about 50 that are better.
Get the fuck out of here! I'm telling each and every one of you motherfuckers right here, right now. Man of Steel is a fucking masterpiece.
Howard the Duck
Most
was
of you
up
people
there.
who don't like Man of Steel have
Howard
not
the
seen
Duck
it more
was
than
a
one
better
time.
origin story than the Man of Steel.
Man, Howard, what's your favorite movie, asshole?
My favorite movie.
Hey, Uche's got backup. Ryan's here. Let him in.
Get in here, Ryan. God damn it.
Ryan's here. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I didn't see it. Oh,
What's
look at that.
your favorite movie, Gary?
What's my favorite movie of all time?
Your favorite superhero movie?
Superman the movie by Richard Donner.
You're a pansy.
Listen here. I see all these guys beating up.
But I ain't no pansy.
I see all these guys beating up on this poor black man. I had to come in and help him out.
Come on up here, help me out.
White savior.
Help me out here. Give me a little hand over here, buddy.
All right, listen. Man of Steel. I get that some people don't like Zack Snyder's necessary interpretation, but Man of Steel is one of Man of Steel and BVS are two of my favorite movies right back to back. The director's cut of BVS because the theatrical release is garbage. We know what WB does with every one of their damn movies. They screw it up in the studio. And
but that director's cut of BVS,
it's golden.
It's better. It's better than the
Here's what I understand. Okay, here's what I understand. We have the Dark Knight trilogy. All right. We have Wonder Woman. We have Shazam. We have Aquaman. All made under DC, and there's no problems. Yet when Zack Snyder directs the movie, suddenly the studio ruined it.
You know why? Because Zack Snyder has a history of making movies that push the time limit with which these corporate shills, these corporate white collar bastards. So you're saying because
he can't do the job?
If you make a movie that goes further than 2.5 hours, you limit our ability to put it in as many theaters as possible. Therefore, we will make you cut out more of the movie so we can put it into more theaters. That's
literally what every director has to work with. Every director has to deal with that.
WB is notorious.
Then why did they do it to Nolan? Why did they do it to Nolan?
Nolan didn't make a movie that ran 4 hours like Zack Snyder did with Watchmen.
That's why they reshot all of Justice League so they could get it down to less than 2 hours.
So what you're saying is because Zack Snyder can't operate within the rules that every other director in Hollywood has to operate within. It's the other people.
Because he has a story to tell us.
Zack Snyder films the entire story start to finish. He doesn't skip over parts because he wants to get under a time limit. He does the entire movie.
Have to do with time.
What?
What does the Martha scene have to do with time?
The Martha scene was actually a very smart way to bring.
Okay.
Oh no!
You just lost there. I'd leave that alone.
No, I'm not leaving shit alone. I don't care what.
Why did you say that name, Uche? Why did you say that name?
Why did you say that name?
If people paid attention to movies and actually thought about the underlying meanings rather than what is simply put in front of your face to be a meme, then you would understand that in BVS, Batman is actually suffering from severe PTSD.
Batman
he's been dealing with PTSD his entire life.
He literally spent the whole fucking movie trying to kill Superman, and even had that passionate speech with Alfred saying, I don't care if there's a
because he is a jaded Batman that has lost everything over 20 years. Yeah. He has lost his allies, he has lost his students, and he has lost and he's made basically no ground in stopping crime in the city of Gotham in 20 years of fighting. Well, it's broken him down.
The problem with that is
hold on, God damn it. Hold on.
The problem with that
pay attention to what's going on in the movie.
You're assuming that's going on because they didn't really tell that story.
What do you think? But why? But why do they have to tell you that? For you not to understand it. If you know Batman, then you would understand that. Because
a lot of people don't know Batman.
When he walks by Robin's uniform every day that he goes into the Batcave, he stops and he looks at that uniform that says, ha, 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 joke's on you, Batman. For 20 years, you have fought in this city and you still couldn't protect the people that you brought in to help you fight crime. For 20 years, you've had allies who said they had your back and they've all turned against you. And it's just you. At the end of the day, 20 years later, you're alone. You don't have anybody.
And what you know what screwed
couldn't even save your mom from dying.
You know what screwed that narrative up is changing the story halfway through. So what?
Who changed the story halfway through?
I don't know. I don't know if it was Zack Snyder or Warner Brothers, but it was supposed to be a retired Batman coming back. and they cut that out completely.
No, it was never
maybe
supposed
that's
to be
in
a
the
retired
Snyder.
Batman.
Yeah, it
It was
was.
the Batman who was a worn down veteran.
No, it was supposed to be a
20
It was
years
supposed to be a retired Batman. He had been gone for a while, and he came back. So when he branded somebody, it was supposed to be the Batman's back.
No.
That was the original intent.
No.
When they now whether that happened after that, I don't know.
Take it from
But,
somebody
uh,
who follows- take it from
You
somebody
know
who
the person to
follows-
ask on that because we're going to end this subject because it's a tired old movie. But you should ask EVS because EVS is friends with Jeff Johns. And I do believe
Jeff Johns who got fucking Zack Snyder pushed out from his own fucking movie.
He should have gotten pushed out.
The Jeff Johns that nobody in Warner Brothers and nobody in the DC film circuit wanted to work with because he was a piece of shit, and he's the guy who actually put together Green Lantern, and we all saw how that shit worked out, right?
Uche's right.
I like Jeff Johns.
He's the guy that they pushed out of DC films and gave him his own little small corner to work on some shit by himself because they were tired of him fucking with all their movies. He's the guy that Christopher Nolan said, you keep him and you keep this fucking producer, I forget his fucking name.
The two guys who wanted to do it. It was Jeff Johns and someone else.
Jeff Johns and
all right, you two. All right, because hang on, because I know how Gary likes to do streams. So you two,
you close your set.
Ryan,
and don't let those fuckers in here.
Ryan and Uche make a video for Geeks and Gamers.
Yeah,
so
totally.
So it can get downvoted to hell.
Yeah, fuck you. We're right.
The public has spoken on that film, so maybe we'll get a Snyder cut someday. I'd watch it. I'd definitely watch it.
What, Man of Steel? Man of Steel was a success, asshole.
Asshole. What the fuck you calling an asshole? My fucking show, man. Listen, Junior.
You're right, I apologize. I bring it down 2 notches. Uche Windu almost went.
I almost lost your arms there, man. Power, ultimate power. So back to the super chats, but we were talking. How did that go from Man of Steel to Batman versus Superman? But yeah, I was watching the whole production of the, because that was during when I had the comic shop. I was in deep. I wanted. No, that was before. I wanted that movie to be so good. I was so pumped for it, and then it sucked. That's too bad. But I like Zack Snyder, and I think he's a better director than J.J. Abrams.
That's how we got on the subject. You started this, Gary. You started
I stick by it. Listen, I worked on the fucking Blu-ray for Sucker Punch, and I've told this story before. So I've watched the first 15 minutes of the last 15 minutes somewhere around 300 times each. So I do get PTSD, and I start screaming Martha when I see that fucking movie too.
Well, here's the thing. A little pro tip, because this is only like the second time you've been on the stream with Uche. If you mention Zack Snyder, that's what you're going to get for about 20 minutes, and you can't stop him. So that's just next time, just don't mention Snyder at all.
Snyder.
See, all I heard. See, all I heard. I just got home from Legoland. I walk in the door, turn on the stream, and I hear people talking about Mara Jade and the Nogri, and I thought EU. I heard EU, and then all of a sudden I pop in. We hear Zack Snyder too.
His EU antenna went off. So you went to Legoland down in Carlsbad, California?
I did.
My old hometown. That's right. So where are Kid Menu Jeremy for $2 asks, where are my tots? Good to see you guys.
I love Kid Menu Jeremy is like one of the newer accounts, and I love it.
He's been in my streams a lot, and he is really for you eating a lot of tots. And I added that Jeremy has earned a juice box tonight, so you get a juice box, buddy, and a Capri Sun. Juice box or a Capri Sun, you can pick between the two. Thank you, Kids Menu Jeremy. For $5, I am predicting the term dangerous incels will be used as a new buzzword to attack the fandom menace. Now we're going to be dangerous. What a joke. That Fizenthorpe, okay, I would say yes to this. I would say the Access Media is setting a template up. I agree with you. And maybe they were prior to this Disney reckoning. Shit is going to change now. Like the fandom menace, it won a battle.
Got some leverage.
You won a fucking battle. I mean, it's unbelievable. I never thought, like, when we, when Jeremy got into this, I don't want to speak for we just wanted to speak our minds. Did we ever think we'd get a giant corporation to fucking, I mean, it's way too late, but they listened for once. Like, we got them to hear us. And that's the biggest thing with, if you ever been in therapy, well, I've been at, that was my mom calling. I just hung up on my mom. So when you're in like couples therapy or marriage therapy, the first thing they teach you is how to hear somebody. So you could say, well, I've been listening to you. Yeah, but you're not hearing her. So you're actually taking the words in and internalizing them and hearing the emotional part of our statement. I think Disney, I'm not saying everything's going to change, but I think they heard us. And I think that's very good. Sure. Kevin Feige ain't going to fix shit, but I mean, I think it's good.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's like you said, when we got into this, I just felt like venting, you know what I mean? Again, my channel had, less than 1,000 subs and less than 100 people were watching each video. And I was just like, I was struggling with where I stood on The Last Jedi, because deep down inside, I knew I hated it, but I didn't want to admit that to myself. And it took me weeks to come to that conclusion. And then I finally did that video that I remember I did this video, and it had like 1,200 views when I went to bed. And that was the best I'd ever had. And I'm like, 1,200 views. I am literally PewDiePie. I was just like, I was so happy, 1,200 views. And, it just kept on picking up. And I think it had like 50,000 views. I think that's where it's at now, which again, that was huge, and and then all of this has turned into where it's at, and it's amazing. It's amazing the people that reached out, that are sharing our feelings and all that. And we've got them. We have all come together because we all felt the same way individually, separately. We didn't know each other. I didn't know Gary from anybody, and Gary didn't know me. I didn't know any of the people. Everybody that's on this panel, I did not know prior to The Last Jedi. Everybody came together based on how they felt about Disney Star Wars, and it's been a beautiful thing to witness. It
is. Something really good came out of it. So I think a lot of the hate that we get from the Access Media and others is, just envy that at our, camaraderie. And that's, honestly, this is better than the movies probably ever could have been. Sorry, but the Phantom Menace is better than the movies ever could have been. The interaction with the fans has been great, and I love it. And I'm glad that you guys, and it's you guys, I'm not even going to say a we or me. I'm going to say you guys won a battle, and that's inspiring. I hope I can get Star Trek or Doctor Who to do this, because they're the next to fall. If you got a crack in the foundation of Star Wars, what the hell do you think is going to happen to Star Trek and Doctor Who next, and Marvel down the road? Come on.
It's very clear whenever these, whether it be hit pieces or, absolute jackholes on Twitter that pop off and say it's just a bunch of angry white dudes or whatever it is. Although I guess maybe you could consider 4 of the 5 of us on the panel angry white dudes sometimes. But the whole community, for lack of a better word, they don't understand the camaraderie and the support that everybody has and things like that. It's clear they don't understand it. Whether it's envy of it or whether they just have no idea what it is. But it's time we start slapping them back,
the problem, Ryan? They don't want to understand it. I can't even have a conversation with people without being, people from the other side without being attacked. It's just ridiculous where they want to shut us up because they're afraid that our message will get out there so big and bright and people will go, yeah, I think they're right. So it's just that's the sad thing to me, is that many of them, I won't say all of them, but many of them don't even want to have a conversation.
No. So, Mahler, check the private chat room. Mahler, I think Mahler is here.
Is Mahler here?
That's what one of the mods said. So I don't know if he wants in.
But 1, 2, 3, 4. We can fit one more person in. Yeah, Mahler, hang on, bud.
If he's here. One of the mods said he's here. So
I'll just send him a link anyway.
I'll take care of it if you want me to.
Yeah, would you? Thanks. Yeah, I'm on my little touch screen here. Right. We can bring in Mahler.
I haven't seen Mahler in the chat, so I might be wrong. But anyway,
Quarter Black is in the chat. What is up, Quarter Black? We're gonna get him back on the show too. Quarter Black Garrett is awesome, dude. Hey, Quarter Black, I got my mug. I drank coffee out of my and
Ooh,
I put it
mug
on
club.
I put it on my Instagram, and I didn't get death threats, so that's always nice. Although I get stink eye. Listen, believe me, from stuff that's said in my Facebook group, and like I'll go to the salon and I'll get some shit. So I mean, so somebody said something pretty stupid in one of, listen, my son is the mod of the Facebook group, and he is free speech absolutist. So pretty much everything goes. And well, to a point, but yeah, we got to tighten it up, because I walked in the salon and Steve looks at me and goes, "So we're not normal, huh?" I'm like, well, what? He's all, "Oh, well, your Facebook group said we're not normal." And of course, Steve was gay. So I had to get a lot of shit for that. But otherwise, you guys are mostly great. So it's okay. It's part of the gig. And Steve is brilliant. Hi, Gary and Jeremy. I'm sorry I can't introduce you to Brie Larson. Well, fuck you then, ruin of Househead at New York Comic Con, because she won't be there. Also, Gary, can you cosplay as Gandalf next Friday for my Lord of the Ring actor photo shoot?
Nice.
I guess it wouldn't be that hard, right? I mean, I just get a gray sheet and a stick and a pointy hat. I already look that old, so sure, why not? Why not? Thank you, Sir Ruin of for $9.99, and I can't wait to meet you, man. I cannot wait to meet you. $2 retracted super chat. Sorry, I missed that. Mark the Cyborg for Canadian $2.79 Canadian. Have a Canadian peso. Have some Canadian pesos. I stand with George. Hashtag yes. This betrayal thing. Again, Jeremy, have you? I've slipped on it a couple times, and okay, the reason I believe he put that in his autobiography, Bob Iger, is he is truly getting ready for a presidential run, and this is the only thing I could think of. I'm not saying it's a good argument. I'm just saying this is the only thing I could think of, and he wanted to show that he's just a really good, transparent guy, and he's gonna be like, God, he's running for president. He was really honest in his and humble in his biography, because a lot of the stuff he was honest about. He talked about his own mistakes. So I think it's a complete effing setup, because none of this shit's genuine. Nobody's genuine down here. Listen, I just spent the day. I'm in Hollywood. I just spent. Listen, thank you for letting me on the set at Fox Studios, and we'll talk about that in a sec. But dude, it is douchey Hollywood for a reason. I mean, other than Tom Constantino, I saw, there were some of those people that, the fake tans and, we'll talk about that later.
Well, I got a question.
In Hollywood.
If he's being so transparent, why doesn't he talk more about the accounting practices of Disney?
Yeah, that's a great point.
Well, I mean, I won't go into. I'm not going to say who sent me the text, but I'm trying to pull it up right now. Give me a second. I haven't read the book, but someone sent me a text. Everybody here knows, but says, and no, it's not, the typical person you would know, someone that I associate with, but I don't name.
I'm halfway through the book. Audio book. I got
said, he talking about Bob Iger. He contradicts himself 100 times about how he treated George. Says the whole thing is so effed. The way he planted the seed in his mind. He told George, "You're getting old. Who's going to take Lucasfilm when you die?"
Wow.
That is some manipulative bullshit, dude.
It's all about money. It's all about the money. Whatever you think
Iger,
about these people.
Yeah, I have lost all respect for Bob Iger. I have lost all respect for Bob Iger.
I never had any. I didn't either.
Well,
I'm right there with you, Jay.
When this came out, when this got released in his memoir, everyone was really surprised that Bob Iger would say that. But if you look back in 2015, when George Lucas when they were kind of forcing him to go on the round tour, everybody wanted to talk to him, of course, but he was getting asked about it. That was when the white slaver comment came up with 60 Minutes. And then also there was, I put a video on my channel today of this video that doesn't get seen a lot, but at Tribeca, Stephen Colbert did an interview with Lucas and asked him, what's going on with Force Awakens? And he said, well, I gave them my stories, but they threw those in the trash. And then he goes on.
I heard about that one.
Yeah, and I can link you guys the video at some point if you want to see it. But Yeah, he says it right there. So we knew this. We knew this is how he said it. And also he mentions that, his original story was about the father, the children, and the grandchildren. And then he specifically said, it's not a big secret, just like in the novels. So anyone that says George Lucas didn't give a shit about the expanded universe is an idiot, I suppose. It's the only way to put it. But
yeah, I've heard people say that too. That's not true because he's got to sign off on every single damn thing.
Exactly.
So he sees it all. I was pouring through interviews with him last night just to get the little sound clips, like old interviews. I watched like 3 hours of them. Listen, he's emotionally stunted. He's not a super emotional I mean, he has emotions. He does not show them very well. And that's been a big problem in his life, but he does show them in his storytelling. That's where that stuff comes out. And I loved, I was watching the Charlie Rose interview where he talked about white slavers. And again, he talked about, it's a story of fathers and sons. And I think that's the main problem Disney had. It was a story of fathers and sons. I've been on a kick lately, well, not lately, since I started this channel, that Hollywood hates fathers and they don't want anything to do with it. Yes, it's patriarchy, but it went way before that too, with the current patriarchy sentiment. They're trying to take that. That's the biggest problem I have with Star Wars is what they did to Luke, what they did to Han, what they're doing to all fathers. I mean, that's my problem. That's where I checked out. That's where I'm never going back. Because the EU, I respect the EU stuff, but for me, my connection was severed. So I don't think there's anything they can do to get back. So that's why this week was, it was happy and sad. It was happy that the Phantom Menace got a win, but it's sad it had to come to this, to be honest with you. And maybe that's what that Jeremy Johns video was about, was just his emotional, reckoning on it, which, it sounds sad. It's like I'm not happy sad about this.
Very, very sad.
It is sad. Yeah, I think I share that sentiment. I try not to say it because I don't want to say it, but I don't care about Star Wars moving forward like that, unless it's something that is more that's grounded more in the actual essence of Star Wars, like I'm hoping The Mandalorian is. Unless it's something like that, I don't care. I don't care about no new trilogies because all the trilogies are supposed to connect in some way, in a plausible, digestible way. And the original trilogy connects with the prequels, and the prequels have had the luxury of moving into the good graces of the fandom over with more time that was given for us to digest it and to fill in some of the blanks with the EU and with the Clone Wars. That has brought the prequels into the good graces of the people, but there's nothing to connect the sequel trilogy to all of that synergy that was created with the original and the prequels. And there's no way to go fill in those blanks because they cut and severed it so severely from the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy that, and then they told us it was our fault. They told us that we were watching it wrong. So now we're like, we don't even care. Like, you can't even now. If you would have brought Kevin Feige into the picture after Force Awakens, things would have probably been different. But it's big name, which, I guess, but this is like I said, this is a different animal. You can't fix Star Wars just by bringing in somebody who did a hell of a job with an entirely different franchise that was based in an entirely different formula for success.
Even if it had been like 2 years ago, I think more of us might be a little pretty excited about it. But now seeing how everyone's feelings have changed. Well, not everyone's, but a lot of people's feelings have changed about the direction that the MCU is now going. I think that everyone just kind of rolls their eyes now that Kevin Feige is going to be doing this.
Mm-hmm.
Eye rolling is that's exactly how I felt when I heard it. Wasn't surprised. Jeremy tells us it's been in the works for a year. I completely believe that. I I even mentioned it in my video, Jeremy. I totally agree with you that they were going to announce this some other time, and they just had to pull this one out of their ass because their CEO.
Yeah.
Which is
that's
hilarious.
That's something I could foresee in the future. Like if Geeks and Gamers gets big and I do something stupid, because I'm probably going to do a lot of stupid things, and I see my teams just like, God damn it, Jeremy. Fuck, we got to release news to offset the stupid shit you've done. But this is Bob Iger. What are you doing? Like, you're a politician, bro. Like, you don't. This is the dumbest. Like, if Bob Iger would have had a pattern of maybe doing, boneheaded things over the years, like publicly, but he's really measured. This was a bad decision on every single possible level. With Galaxy's Edge being a disaster, you're a few months out from the Rise of Skywalker. You've got Disney Plus releasing in a month, and you just openly admit that you've betrayed George Lucas, or at least George Lucas feels betrayed. That is a bad PR move, man.
But hold on, everyone. He's making a good move for Galaxy's Edge next week. He is going to let The View record their show from Galaxy's Edge to bring people in. The View will be on Galaxy's Edge along with Dancing with the Stars, Live with Kelly. The Goldbergs are filming there. Black is going to be there. He basically said, everybody from ABC, get over there, and The View's going to kick it off. How wonderful is that? Isn't that going to make you want to go now?
$3 Theater is going to make a hashtag Star Wars is saved video. Star Wars is saved, everybody. Hashtag Star Wars is saved.
I already made that video. Go to my channel instead.
Go to Drunk 3PO.
Yeah, $3 Theater. That name sounds familiar. Huh? Something mundane about it, but
yeah.
That guy tries to walk that line so bad so that he can be accepted by both audiences, and I'm like, dude, pick a side.
He's been riding that fence. He's been riding that fence for so long, it's up his ass. That's the problem.
Except when he's on his Discord talking about my friend's Midnight's Edge. That's when I draw the line. When it's somebody I know, and he threw some more. So it's like, stay out of it. Stay out of it. I don't like talking about other YouTubers. I just leave them alone. Like Midnight's Edge has been nothing but nice. They are nice people over there. So lay off those guys.
100% agree. Fully support those guys.
For sure.
All right. So let's read a couple more super chats here. And no sign of Mahler yet. I just checked.
No, I just talked to him. He said he's a little busy, but he will try to pop in later.
Oh, he's just too busy for me now. No, I'm just kidding. Mahler, love you. Love you, man. Mark the Cyborg, thank you again for the $2.79 Canadian pesos. Kid Menu Jeremy for $2. Feige, put the trio together in one more movie. Feige would have, to be honest with you. I mean, he wouldn't have made that mistake, but that's a J.J. Abrams thing. Okay. So I'm very hard on J.J. Abrams because he has a large portion of the responsibility with the Star Wars thing. Because of the way he goes about storytelling, the way he likes to get a little cheddar from the merchandise. So he likes to create look at all the new aliens they're creating, and do they look a lot like the Star Trek aliens? Because it's the same person. They don't even fucking try to make them look different. And I know Clownfish TV talks about the penis monster. Yeah, the fucking penis monster. How does something like that even evolve? I mean, it's got no arms, no legs. It's just got it's a penis with a mouth.
You probably got the idea from someone in Hollywood, I would imagine.
Well, yeah. I'm guessing. All right. So thank you very much. And JJ is going to get away with it, and he's going to go screw up the DC, and Uche is going to have another aneurysm, and we don't want Uche to have another. I want DC to be good. But the reason JJ effed this up is because he set it up mystery box style, which is not Star Wars is not a mystery. It's not something we're not looking. It had the shock value of my father, but they telegraph most everything, and it's not what you're going to get is a lot of answers in the Rise of Skywalker towards the end of the movie. So it doesn't even have time to resonate, and it's a cheap trick. It's a cheap trick because it makes it a shock and impactful. And you walk out of the theater going, oh my God, all this information and this stuff happened. That must've been good. It's a lot like the Darth Vader appearance at the end of Rogue One. He is a charlatan. So it sounds like to me that they are fucking writing off Rise of Skywalker. Like with all this news and everything coming out, and there's no Rise of Skywalker trailer, there's no footage. It sounds like it's, and Midnight's Edge said that, and I agree with it.
There is no footage of it anywhere.
Plenty of news.
I heard they're still trying to figure out. I've heard rumors they're still trying to figure out what exactly they want to do, how exactly they want to edit it together.
Gary, you got somebody else in waiting room.
All right, thanks, man.
I mean, look, man, it's so hard to fix something like this when, The Last Jedi literally took the entire train off the rails, down the valley, into into an ocean of piranha and freaking white sharks. I mean,
and then it exploded.
And then it blew up underwater.
Comix Division, your microphone is like hot. Super hot, super loud. Yeah.
But
how's that?
I mean, it could be
a little lower.
Yeah, a little bit lower.
We're all waiting.
Okay.
This is more anticipated. Wait, Comix Division. His mic level is more anticipated than the Rise of Skywalker. That's what Star Wars.
Yes.
Is it fine now because I had to adjust the gain.
A little bit higher.
Now you need it higher. Are you using XLR? Are you using like a fancy mic?
No, I have a mixer, dude. Is that better?
A little bit, a little up, a little more, up a little more.
Somebody said, "Why the sharks got to be white?" Uche.
Why the sharks got to be white?
How's that?
That's perfect. Comix Division. What was the game company that produced that book in the 80s during the dark times of Star Wars that you were
talking
into?
about Weston Games?
Weston Games. Thank you.
Yeah.
I remember Weston Games.
Could have asked me that one then.
I could have.
I played a lot of Star Wars back in the 80s and 90s.
Oh yeah, when it was dead, right?
Yeah, when it was quote unquote dead.
Weston Games, all the novels, all the comics, but it was dead. Yeah.
Well, Feige apparently has a ton of Weston Games knowledge. He studied that. He didn't play the game, but he read the book cover to cover multiple times. It said in an interview, and the interview made him sound like a bigger Star Wars fan than a Marvel fan.
Look, here's the thing, right? We're like, we're good to have such a big fan. Well, that's what JJ was too, right? JJ is a big fan of Star Wars. That's the crap they sold us on him too. So I don't buy it.
That's what they were saying when the original, 2000. I won't say original, but the 2009 Trek movie came out. Was that he was talking about how he was more of a Star Wars fan than a Trek fan. And the funny thing, all they had to do, even if they ditched the majority of the extended universe, if they just stuck with what was laid out by Weston Games, where the Empire truly didn't fall, you had a series of governors kind of fighting, over the remnants of the Empire, and then you had the New Republic, who basically held on to the core worlds, and they're all kind of like in one big fight.
That's like
supremacy of the galaxy.
That's like Last Command, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the Imperial Remnant, the idea that's what so many of us wanted to see, right? Which is why the Thrawn trilogy kind of resonated with a lot of people, because it was in, about 5 years after Return of the Jedi, and people were wondering what happened, right? Just because the Empire, or just because the Emperor and Darth Vader dies, and the second Death Star gets blown up, you still got tons of military might. The Empire still controls all of the galaxy effectively.
Okay, I adjusted because I'm seeing people saying I'm still too quiet, but that's the other thing too. I mean, that just because the Emperor and Vader die doesn't mean that the bureaucracy dies.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the whole issue with the Empire. It's like for everything to magically have fallen apart after their death is just ridiculous. I mean, and there's also a series of comic books which dealt with the plotting of the death of Vader as well as the Emperor. It's called Betrayal, which is actually a pretty good series.
We don't even know what the First Order is. What is the First Order?
They were never explained. Nothing. Like, what have they been hanging out in the Outer Rim for 50 years or some shit, waiting to come through? I mean,
and who gets it right on the first time ever? I mean, it should be like the second or third order. So Jake DD for $5. The only way I could accept Brie in Star Wars movie if she plays a Sith and gets killed in a 1-minute cameo during the first act. Hail Gary and panel. I agree. That's why I put Darth Brie on the title.
Got it.
No, I don't want her in it at all. But
I think if they actually do add her in, it's going to be nothing but a big FU to the fans.
It's FU casting. I agree with that.
Oh, big time.
Well, to me, like I
we'll
said,
show
there's
you,
no doubt.
fanboys.
What do you think? That Emmy was for Game of Thrones? That ending for Game of Thrones was a middle finger.
That might end Feige's run before it even starts if he does that, to be honest.
That's
You're
true.
right.
I mean, look, at the end of the day, we can't doubt that Kevin Feige is a very talented producer and a world builder and everything he's done with the MCU. I don't think that he's done anything bad in the MCU. The MCU is too safe for my taste. You know what I mean?
Oh no, I agree with you.
yeah.
I completely agree with you. There's
and
there's
so
a lot of areas where it got very, very safe and very repetitive.
Right, but we did have great payoffs, and we can't really dispute that. I mean, like the first Avengers, even though after a rewatch it kind of falls apart for me in terms of it, there's just not a lot of meat to that sandwich. But you can't deny how we all went freaking crazy when we saw that movie for the first time in the theaters. A lot of Age of Ultron, okay, but like Civil War was a great kind of, like it came together. I'll bring Mahler on here if you want to argue about.
Movie.
No, I had problems with Civil War a little bit, but overall I enjoyed the experience. And Infinity War to me is the peak of the MCU. And Endgame was nice closure, but it had a lot of problems. But overall, the point is that the MCU is a very well-oiled machine, and he did a great job of it. And the thing we get aggravated with the most, though, is identity politics, right? That's the thing that really drives us crazy. So if you go back to JJ's Trek, all right, now I'm not a Trek guy. I did watch Next Generation, but I don't have a lot of Trek lore. I don't know, much about it. I enjoy JJ's Trek movies. They were entertaining for me. And I understand why Trek fans hate them. But this is where JJ the beta comes into play, because you look at JJ's Trek, all right? Yeah, it's not Star Trek. We all know that, okay? And he doesn't understand Star Trek, yada, yada. He made it an action movie, but it didn't have identity politics into it. There was no identity politics. But look at how he bent over for Kathleen Kennedy and Disney to start pushing the virtue signaling garbage, because he's not a man. He's a puppet. Even though he has the power, he's too scared to use the power because he's your typical millennial beta male. And he'll do whatever the powers that be want him to do. And that's what drives me crazy. Whereas and the point I'm getting at is Kevin Feige got some of this, because we haven't seen identity politics push into the MCU, but now we see that they're pushing the identity politics to the MCU now in phase 4. Is that what they're going to get Kevin Feige to do? Like, hey, you can build a more cohesive and entertaining story, but we're still wanting to sprinkle those identity politics into our story.
I think that Kevin Feige is fully on board with identity politics. He said it himself. He said that the future of Marvel, of the next phase of the MCU, is based in having as much diversity as possible, because more diversity makes for better stories, which is in and of itself a completely idiotic statement to make, because that is so far from the truth. Good stories make good stories, not inclusion. And this is the thing: if they did these things without making it so heavy-handed, without declaring that they were doing it, with doing it with some grace and with some finesse, then people wouldn't notice. People wouldn't say anything. We would probably adapt to it quicker than we are to rally against it when they come out and say it out in the open. But they do that out in the open to trigger the people who have already been fans of these characters.
Yep.
And that's where it really creates a divide. And as far as I can tell, Kathleen Kennedy is the boss of Star Wars, and that's why J.J. Abrams did things the way he did them, because he was told to. And if Feige comes in there, he's going to do it the same way, and he's going to do it with a smile on his face because he wants to do it that way.
And the bad thing is JJ was asked multiple times to direct Episode 7. At that point, he had the power because he turned it down. And then Kathleen Kennedy had to go to Spielberg to get Spielberg to talk to JJ. At that point, you have the power. You have the power. And so at that point, I blame him just as much as Kathleen Kennedy, because he had the negotiating power. He could have looked at it and goes, we're not putting Luke and Leia and Han in the what?
Well, yeah, he's a Hollywood type, man. I'm pretty sure whatever progressiveness gets tossed around there, he's gonna follow.
I think he was all on board for stretching it out over 3 movies and maximizing profits. That's the way they looked at it. Is they wanted to just use the nostalgia. That's the only reason they did it. We all know that grab, man. It was a cash grab. It was not narratively. It is the biggest mistake in the history of film. It's simply the biggest mistake in the history of film to not put those 3 in together. I mean, it's dumb.
It still is. They're still doing it. The trailer that we saw, right? The trailer that we saw was 45 seconds of prequel and original trilogy shit. Stuff that you know
Yep.
you love. They
I
still
would
have
say-
nothing that we
yeah, that's about
want.
Right.
Yeah.
I was in Hollywood today, so I got to see
Oh,
firsthand
poor guy.
positive and negative.
Yeah, you've
What
had a little bit of a lisp to your voice today. I didn't know what's going on.
I was at Fox Studios today.
Had a soy latte.
So I had some latte and I had a lot of soy. And I saw George R. R. Martin. Me and George R. R. Martin were in the same building hanging out today. That was very strange.
So you ask him why he's not freaking writing the damn book.
Oh, and he won't be for the next month.
No.
He said it. He's like, I'm not writing till I'm done with award season. He said it right there, right in front of me. I'm like,
He don't give a
Wow.
fuck. He's like,
I
I'm
almost
old,
lost
I'm
my-
lazy. I
So,
don't give a
listen, the people they like some people in his entourage had no idea who I was, and George absolutely knew who I was.
Oh,
when
that's
he
hilarious.
did not shake my hand.
He
did
wouldn't?
not. Nope.
Nice.
He shook everybody's hand, looked at me, and went and shook somebody else's.
Oh, that is hilarious.
Thankfully,
dude.
I didn't have my hand out, but yeah, he looked right at me and went, shook
Fuck
somebody
you,
else's
Gary
hand.
walks off.
Smart.
Storms off in a huff.
Gary.
But I saw
that is
the
beautiful.
I saw the power Seth MacFarlane had, and George had. Now I was in Seth's domain, so Seth is like God now, and this is a benevolent God. This is a nice one that people that like. He's an understandable person, but I mean, like just watching it, being a part, just as an observer, that has to change a person. Like that many people hanging on your every move, every word, all the time. I mean, millions, billions are involved. There's an entire studio with his painting on it, a big mural of Stewie and Family Guy and all that. I mean, Seth right now, Fox Studios is Seth MacFarlane. Like
is.
that's
That's
it.
part of the reason why I say that, celebrities aren't human, because, they
can't
get
be.
Yeah.
There's a point where like, I don't want to totally defend them. I mean, there's people who are still grounded out there, by the way, who because they remove themselves from this. They go out and move to Montana or something like that. And that part must be hard. I mean, listen, you still got to figure out how to be human though. And it's probably, what helped Seth was, he was a true nerd. I think that did help, the fact that he loves Star Trek, and so he knows how to treat a fandom, because we're hard to figure out. We're really hard to figure out. Like Hollywood sees us as a sure thing. They see genre. That's what they thought we were easy money. They thought we were going to go out and put out like In the Car before we even made it to the movie. It turns out you got to take us out to dinner. We're kind of high maintenance, to be honest with you. We're quite the opposite. We will put out, but you got to, give me dinner first and stuff. That's the big difference. But it was weird seeing it, the George side, because he had like 9 people with him, and none of them could care less about the Orville, but George was there, like geeking out, like he actually liked the show and was talking about episodes and stuff, and he had 9 people there who could care less about the show, but they were following George around. Like, it was weird. It was really weird I don't know why you'd want to lead that existence, being one of the followers, but it was bizarre to observe. It was really
he drops $100 bills every once in a while. You get to pick them up. Is that
just to watch somebody pick it up?
Yeah.
He was
like
passing
this,
out
Ryan? Was he just walking around? Just,
That's that Patreon, huh?
yeah.
That's that,
my
sorry,
Patreon.
Bahamas. It's going in my pocket.
This is a skull from Identity Part 2. So from Orville. It's just a
Awesome.
plastic Halloween skull, but it was filmed. They gave me that. They gave me a cookie. They gave me coffee. It was cool.
Cookie.
I got a cookie. I got one cookie. And I got to see a bunch of stuff I can't talk about. I had to sign an NDA. It kind of sucks, but Orville fans, be very excited. They're ratcheting. They're dialing it up. It's going to be awesome.
Now this is the stuff that's going to be on Hulu, right? That's what you were watching them film.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Shit, they would be pissed at me. I'd have violated that NDA in 10 minutes. You guys are never gonna believe what I saw.
If it was Star Trek Discovery, I'd have violated it while I was there. But I like.
They're gonna sue me, but I don't give a damn.
This is he's not joking. I mean, Uche. I went to Uche to the University of Purdue, where that's his alma mater, where we went with media passes. Again, I think I've proven myself as a very good leader, because I had to manage Uche on campus where everybody recognized him, everybody worshipped him. He's just loud as hell. Cops are coming after him, screaming at the cops. He's screaming at the cops. I'm like, God damn, Uche. All the white people that was fans of yours ran when them cops came. No, they're like, oh no, another black man gonna get shot.
Of course they are. Oh, we're good at that shit.
He's sitting there going, I ain't in the street. I'm like, oh my God, Uche, shut the fuck up. He's like, I ain't in the street. Cops running over there. I was like, oh my God.
Like, I got white folks backing me up. Turn around, no white folks. I'm like, oh shit. No white folks. Officer, I'm getting up.
Yeah, we are. Speaking of white folks, Cracklin has a $4.99 super chat. How about sorry, I assumed your race, Cracklin. $4.99. How about Star Wars pull a Superman 3 and split Luke into Luke and Jake Skywalker so that Luke can kill the lamer version of himself? I would accept that. I would accept just about anything if it undoes what they did.
Yeah,
I'll take it. I'll take whatever. I don't care.
They can even use time travel. Shit, I don't care.
At this point, yes.
Comix Division said poke Gary. He's in the chat. I don't know.
Oh, did
I
you
think
leave
he's
or something?
I think he's back.
Oh, is he? I didn't know you left. Sorry, buddy. Wait.
Yep.
You're not.
Now he's gone. Oh, wait. Now he's back. Now he's gone. Just kidding.
I don't know what the hell happened. It's like everything stopped, and I was like, okay, let me refresh. It's like, damn it, now I'm backstage again.
I got you, Comix Division. I saw you reach out to me.
Thanks, man. I appreciate
Hey, your
it.
mic sounds good now. So
Okay,
And
awesome.
we need to get the melee button smashed. So smash the melee or the waffle button, however you want it.
As long as it's not blue waffles.
No, we already did that, and Uche saw it for the first time. We got an actual
Dude, I'm so sorry. on behalf of the internet everywhere, you're screwed, buddy.
I was listening to you, Comix Division, on a weaponized nerd rage was the first one, dude.
Oh yeah, gee, there's so much worse stuff out there too. Which
Can't-
is really
yeah,
funny
don't
because I
mess
always
with it.
forget
Don't
what it
worry about
is, and I have to remind myself, and then it gets wiped from my mind. I think I probably used the Jedi mind trick on myself in the mirror. You will never remember this. Okay.
Blue waffle.
There's no such thing as blue waffles.
Candace Marie says, "Hail, y'all!" By the way, one of our newest moderators and patron and just nice person, Candace Marie, for $5. Hail, y'all! Can't wait to see all the great content in store this next week from you all. Keep up the awesome work. They can hear us. Yes, they can, Candace.
Nice, and she is awesome, dude. She was in the waffle stream last night, and she was giving some of the best puns, and she's been super supportive on Twitter. She's great. She's great.
Patreon of mine.
She is great.
Same here. Yeah.
Shoot, I need some patrons. I only got one.
You know what? I'm giving her a follow on Twitter just because she's so great. So I'm doing it right now.
Boom! Look at that.
Look at that. I better be following her if I'm not.
She posted the car video today, right?
Yes.
Yes. That was pretty awesome.
Y'all see the RIP Joe Rogan?
What?
Nah.
Oh, I always that always
They're
pops
probably
up.
trolling.
Don't
They're probably
believe that
trolling.
one. Yeah.
Oh God!
Yeah.
I'm
No,
like,
no.
no.
Yeah,
No, I would be very sad if
I would
Yeah.
too.
No.
Yeah, I'm
Mm-mm.
following. Okay, look at that Expanse.
GX to be sick.
I'm at Candace's Twitter. Expanse. See the Expanse. Okay, what you were just talking about, Uche. The Expanse is that show. It's a show that we're going to do this crazy sci-fi show. We're going to make it one of the most diverse casts on TV and never talk about it.
Yeah, I know
Because-
what you're talking about. Yeah, I've seen it.
Because in the future, I mean, they have their own set of problems, but racism isn't one of them.
It's not
They
way
have- it's all class. It's all
Yeah,
class structure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so-
it's
and then
where
that
you're
totally makes
from.
sense too.
What's her Twitter?
Her Twitter is at Geeky Candy. So GeekyCandi.
Hey, shout out to YouTube. Really do appreciate them keeping my my Ruby Rose video demonetized until it hit 75,000 views, and now it's got monetization.
Oh,
Thanks.
dude, that
Thanks.
sucks.
This is
Perfect.
the third straight video, 2 Joker
Alphabet.
videos and a Batwoman video, all demonetized, and they let it get all these tons of views, and then they monetize it. So after 75,000 views, my Ruby Rose video has made $1.11.
Oh,
Don't spend that in one place.
yeah, but
I mean,
YouTube made
rolling
a
in the
couple.
dough.
Well,
I know you like ice cream.
what do we make off of YouTube? It's like a couple percent
Yeah.
off each video. So like if we get a couple $100, then they got like
It's
a couple thousand.
it's so frustrating, man. Joker and Batwoman, they do not like Joker or Batwoman being talked about in a negative way. I'm just gonna make the next video where I'm gonna be like, Joker is nothing but a movie for the incels, and I bet you it
Isn't
will
that
be
what the
monetized.
mainstream media
It'll
is
get
saying about
preferential
it?
treatment. Oh
Hey,
yeah,
we should do a backwards week.
yeah.
Oh, Bizarro
opposite
week on
week.
Oh, yeah.
Bizarro week on Gamers and
Yeah.
Geeks.
Oh,
Opposite.
Yeah,
Dude, you get so many views and so much money off of it.
that would be funny.
'Cause
I'm
if
just
you do
excited
that,
to be
man, you're gonna have to make a video talking about how Brie Larson is so awesome.
Yeah, I heard that. I could
No,
do
we're
that. I
not
could do that. I could
do
do
like a
that.
cast, do a reverse casting call for Brie Larson. Everybody say who we want her to be in Star Wars. That'd be perfect.
yeah. Just do
Yoda!
do listicle.
Yoda!
Do top 10 lists like
Yeah.
all week. Top 10. Yeah. Brie Larson.
I'm just excited to be part of this troubles with monetization period. I'm looking forward to that. So I just got monetized like yesterday. So
Congrats,
I'm
buddy.
super pumped.
Well, they're gonna
Yeah.
demonetize you for that tank top.
Oh, I mean, it is a little too appealing. I can see that.
This little too
Well, no,
toxic.
you and Mr. H reviews can have like arm wrestling contests. The Cobra Viper for $2 says, "What's up, all you awesome people?" Well, how do you do my man Jeremy
Cobra
like
Viper's
that?
awesome.
Yeah.
Cobra Viper's cool.
Thank you for the $2. Candace Marie is back for $5. Do you think they told George that they would not use his storylines if he persisted on the royalties? I think he's getting royalties. The reason I believe that, and I reported on it some Doomcock, is because you'd be an idiot not to ask for it. I mean, that's probably the very first thing he asked for. It's probably not that much, but if I sold something off, I'd still want to kick back that constant paycheck. I mean, he's not dumb. So maybe I think that has to. I think partially has to do with they don't want to kick residuals or give him power. And I think JJ, when he produces a movie, I think he gets a little cheddar too. So I know he does with Star Trek. They got pleasure in destroying fandoms, cucking us, says Joni Baloney for $2. Yes. They take, and that's what we were talking about earlier is, just Team SJW and NPC coming in, shatting on everything and then going away. Jeremy said they don't care because they don't care. I mean, you can hear sometimes they go after stuff they know nothing about and they don't care as long as it's destroyed or that person is destroyed. Oh yeah, they get extra boners by getting actual people. That's
they take one little thing and they try to build a narrative around something, and then they say that we do the same thing, and that's absolutely not true. They say, oh, well, they just take one thing that Kathleen Kennedy says. No, we take a lot of things that Kathleen Kennedy says, and then we show the product that she produces. Then we show that she says she acted. Like, we watched it the other day, me and Mahler. Were you on that stream, Gary?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we were all on the stream. We're watching her sit there and say that she has the power now to sit in a boardroom and say, well, the protagonist can be a female. I have that power now. She talks about going to a Saturday Night Live recording, and the first thing she says is, where are all the women camera operators? That's just how her mind works. You mean
the one she said happened in 1973, but couldn't have happened because Saturday Night Live wasn't airing then?
Exactly. And she was also the starting quarterback for her high school football team. Yeah. Yeah, this is what she said.
I still haven't been able to verify that, and I looked.
I don't even know how she was qualified to bring coffee to these people, to be quite honest with you. So.
I know.
Playing football.
Yeah, there's no way in hell she was quarterback. Now she
held the fucking cords to the headset for the head coach. That's what she did.
I looked over her yearbook on classmates.com and I didn't see her in a team picture. So it was hard to see. It was
Is
very
she actually
small.
legit saying this, or is this like a
No,
like
she
a
said
troll?
that. Yeah, she said that. She absolutely said it. We can find it. Hang on.
They made a point to ask her about her football career. Like,
Yep.
It's what?
I don't know. It'd be strange to me for someone that's that public of a figure to say something like that. That would be so easy to disprove.
That has to be a troll, man. It really does. Either that she really is that fucking stupid.
It was all part of that huge interview, right?
Yeah, that women's conference interview.
Yeah.
Yep. Whammon's conference.
Whammon. Hang on.
She didn't want to tell. She didn't want to tell an entire room full of women that all she did was get coffee for her career. So she made something else up.
All right, I'm going to try to turn it. It's going to be very low because the audio coming out from StreamYard is pretty low. But here we go.
And I'll be right back, Gary.
Go ahead.
And I want to hear a lot more about your take on women in Hollywood in general. But another great story that you have from early on is, I should say, actually, Kathy played football on the boys' team in high school, right?
Yes, I did.
Seriously.
I was actually the quarterback.
The quarterback.
I could throw.
That's a joke, man. She's not being serious.
Get the fuck out of here.
Those wide ass shoulders, you're probably a linebacker.
Yeah.
defensive tackle ass motherfucker.
I wouldn't take that serious.
I'd want to I tried to fact check it. I can't find anything, but maybe she was in Redding, California comics. So it's a small town, and in the 50s, it probably would have been really small, but not like a town of 300 where you could you would think if you only have like 8 kids in the high school, that's how she was on the football team. That's the only way I could think of it.
I think she was joking. That didn't look like she was.
No, she was.
No, she was.
She had
dude,
a story to go along with it.
Yeah, it goes on.
It's clear that she told them about that so that they would bring it up. So that
that was fed.
Bring it up.
That was absolutely fed. Hang on, she ain't done.
But tell us about the Vikings game.
Like the Viking game?
Nah, she was a sideline reporter, or not reporter, camera person.
Hear a lot more about your take on women in Hollywood in general. But another great story that you have from early on is, first I should say, actually, Kathy played football on the boys' team in high school, right?
Yes, I did.
Seriously.
I was actually the quarterback.
The quarterback.
I could throw.
No one even believes her.
Yeah, it's that weird laugh.
Tell us about,
you need like
Vikings
receipts for something to say something like that. But no, that wasn't a gag or anything.
Do you have a jersey?
Honestly, I've known about Kathleen Kennedy all my life and have read Bantha Tracks and comics. You have too. This would have gotten mentioned in a Bantha Tracks or a Starlog or something over the years, and I missed it. I don't know. And all the nerd shit that I read over decades, I've never ever heard that. So
dude, that would have at least made her local newspaper. At least,
yeah. If it was real, it would have been in something.
In the 50s. Maybe she's really old and it was like a Newt Rockney leather helmet, like the quarterbacks who used to just run.
Look at her neck. You look at her neck, you can tell how old she is.
All right. So next super chat we got is Hishy did it better. Hishy did it better, says DeMile Jr. for $5. Thank you very much. Will Gentry says Luke was Star Wars. It died with him. Plus, the new millennial crowd at Lucasfilm are so certain of their moral superiority, they don't care we're upset. And there is a faction that you are correct, that they don't care. The problem is now that their bosses are starting to care. And the problem was before is their bosses didn't care and they signed off on all their shit. Mm-hmm. Now they're going, oh, fuck. God damn it. they said that was a small minority of fans. The Phantom Menace is real, and they have economic power.
Mm-hmm.
We have economic power, and we just had to hurt them once for them to change their mind. And Galaxy's Edge, and this has been a culmination of things. It's been death by 1,000 paper cuts, but Galaxy's Edge being empty was a kick in the balls. That was a good one.
Oh, yeah,
very positive one.
That hurt them because they poured everything they had into that, and then they went to the extra length of making it sequel trilogy exclusive. Like, what? Come on, dude. What?
I honestly think that was probably more of the death nail than anything else. If they made it, even with the stuff that's going on, if they made it an original trilogy, that place probably would be packed.
Yes. Yeah. And prequels. Like people have a lot of love for the prequels, as maligned as they seemed initially. People have a lot of love for those movies, and
nothing but hate.
Well, hey, that's you.
Yeah,
it is me.
I will defend the prequels, and I will defend it not only for the fact that I love them, but the fact that I believe the narrative is completely wrong about them. I believe that the narrative was ripped apart. I believe George was thrown under the bus by the media because it worked. It was popular for the media to talk about how bad the prequels were, but the reality of it is the numbers don't support that. Revenge of the Sith was a huge success. It was a far bigger success than Attack of the Clones. Like, the decline didn't happen like they claimed that it did. The prequels inspired an entire new generation of Star Wars fans that actually did something that the sequel trilogy fans don't. Go buy the toys, support the expanded universe, support the things outside of the movies, go into conventions, things like that. And I'm not saying that Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones don't have some issues, because there's some execution issues there, but the story is not the problem. And Revenge of the Sith, to me, stands along all other Star Wars movies. And the Clone Wars absolutely makes the prequel era the best era in Star Wars, in my opinion. Although, Ryan, you're far more, and maybe Uche even, you're more knowledgeable on the EU side. Like, where does the prequel era stand for you in terms of Star Wars eras?
Well, it's definitely a little different for me, because my favorite era of any Star Wars is post Return of the Jedi expanded universe. Like with what you get to see happen with Luke, Leia, and Han and their children, and the refounding of the Jedi Order, and Luke is actually Luke. All the characters are actually who they're supposed to be, and what you see happen, and we get to the point where they're about to finally have their last adventure and officially turn everything over to the next generation, and that's kind of where we stopped when Disney took over. But the prequel era, for sure. Listen, I have some issues with the Clone Wars. And specifically with the kind of not diligent way that they went about continuity that could have been easy to follow. Dave Filoni liked to do his own thing a lot, which is fine. But I wholeheartely agree that it makes that prequel era deeper, and you're more able to appreciate it and stuff.
I love the Clone Wars, and a lot of it for me is it did Anakin a lot more justice than what they did with the movies, because
100%.
A lot of my issues with what happened with the prequels is that and this is the problem with anything that you grow up watching a series of movies and they decide to go and do a prequel. The issue is it's never really going to truly live up to your expectations. The Clone Wars for me did that because it made Anakin a lot more relatable as a human being. Because part of it, my issues is the fact that I always pictured Anakin being very much a Han Solo type, somebody who was strong in the Force, but honestly should never been taught because he simply just lacked, I don't know, maybe the moral fiber or whatever, the discipline, etc. What I ended up getting was this whiny emo kid. It's just like, dude. It just so did not live up to my expectations. And then the Clone Wars came along, and I was a lot more forgiving because they actually made Anakin likable and relatable.
I agree with that.
Yeah. And just thinking about the prequels, I looked at the prequels and I saw it as something that was the movie. The prequel movies were designed, I think, more to just create a connective bond to the original trilogy, to tell us, to just lead. It's more of a tragedy than it is. An action adventure, or
it should have totally been a tragedy. It should have been fucking Romeo and Juliet. Excuse me, Romeo and Juliet to a degree, because it should be the tragic fall of Anakin Skywalker, and that's not what I got from the series.
Well, I think Revenge of the Sith kind of played more to the tragedy trope of how Anakin fell. The first two movies were kind of trying to keep along that action adventure path, and I think that's where a lot of the execution was off with how George Lucas wanted to tell that story. But Revenge of the Sith was a lot more directed at, the methodical breakdown of Anakin, and even the novel. If you read the novel, which I read the novelization of it, it gives you even more detail.
The novel is infinitely better than
it's so good.
The prequels should have been Revenge of the Sith broken into 3. I never ever needed to see Anakin as a kid. I didn't need to see Gungans. I didn't need to see maybe a little part of Attack of the Clones, but it should have just been Anakin's fall for 3 movies.
Yeah,
we start out as a young adult, and that's it. I mean, they just, it was a mistake in storytelling, and George had surrounded himself with Rick McCallum and people who just wouldn't tell him no.
Yeah,
and he needed that. I mean, he's got the geniuses in there. I'm not saying it's not, but like as an adult, I could see how these movies would have captured a kid, and then you saw the original trilogy and see the whole package, and I can see how you could have liked it. But if you're anything older than 17, you're watching those things, you're like, what?
I mean, the 2 prequel movies are more directed towards getting merchandise out there. You can tell.
Yeah.
Well, hang on. Speaking of merchandise, this is why Gary's a great guy. But I just received this.
Put that shit
there it is.
Politics out of my.
That's hilarious.
Gary sent that to me.
That's right.
Hang on.
It's going to be worth something in about 10 months.
Does it
trigger
work?
Trump.
Does it work?
It should.
I have no choice but to tell you, you're fired.
See ya, Uche. You're gone.
Right. Peace out.
Kind of building on your point, that's what I was hoping to see was the fall from the beginning. It should have been very apparent that this guy was not, I wouldn't say Jedi material. He's obviously knows the Force or has the Force abilities, but he was never meant to be a Jedi. It's like, what would happen if Han Solo was Force sensitive?
Yeah.
Is what it kind of boils down to. And the other thing, too, is that you're right. There wasn't anyone to keep Lucas in check. And that person was Gary Kurtz. And unfortunately, they parted ways after Empire. Yeah. And it's unfortunate because he was the guy that kind of kept him in line. Yeah.
I saw somebody in Midnight's Edge chat taking people to task on the Gary Kurtz thing. Like, he wasn't that important. I can't remember who that person was. Dude, you are so wrong.
Yeah, very
you
wrong.
Are so
he
wrong.
Is why Empire is the best movie.
Yes. George was barely around for Empire. He was in bits and pieces, but he was getting his divorce then. And like, that's why that movie was so goddamn good. So, I mean, George still had major influence. Don't get me wrong, but Gary Kurtz was he cared about Star Wars as much as George did.
He did,
and had to get out, which was too bad.
Well, and George's wife was so important in A New Hope. Like, she saved that movie editing wise.
Yes,
and so at the end of the day, we all know that George is such a creative mind, and it doesn't always necessarily translate to what we see on screen. Mm-hmm. But I do think for the prequels, the last thing I'll say about it is that when you know exactly where a story is going, everyone has an idea of how it gets there, which is something pressure that they do not have on these sequel trilogies, right? It's completely open-ended because they threw everything away for creative freedoms. So that's one thing I think why everyone has their very strong opinions about the prequels. Everyone had their way that they thought it was going to get there.
And you know what wasn't George's fault? I mean, he's the director, but Natalie Portman's performance, she was so freaking awful. She was so bad. Yeah. Now, I don't know if it was the green screen or what, and George's directing, but
it was the directing.
Natalie,
there's been interviews where she's like, people.
Yeah, but she was in The Professional, dude. As a 12-year-old, she was great.
I know. So it was the directing. I don't think it's the fact that she's a bad actress. God, I don't think she is. But she was terrible.
I think she mails it in. I think she definitely mails it in when she.
Well, George Lucas also said, because also Hayden Christensen, he received a lot of flack for the way he acted in the movies, and George Lucas came out, and if you watch some of the behind the scenes videos on the prequel trilogies, George Lucas comes out and said that he wanted he wanted the character of Anakin to be a more wooden, solemn kind of almost Vader-esque kind of acting without the suit on. You know, very like matter of fact talking, very emotionally, I guess,
disengaged.
He picked the wrong fucking actor for that.
And the poor thing is, the guy he was in the Virgin Suicides, right? And he was fine in that. So I don't know. I got to get a couple super chats here so we don't too far behind. But DGM Voices for $10 says the EU and the sequel trilogy cannot coexist.
Agreed.
And they're not going to decanonize their own crap. The only chance for big screen films to go away for about 5 or 10 years, so some of us can just forget about it. You're right, DJM Voices, and this is their huge problem that Kevin Feige can't fix because, I mean, I'm going to say the obvious. The reason Marvel Comics was a smarter purchase and one that they should have leaned more into than Star Wars is you can do multiple genres within Marvel. You can do every genre within Marvel. Star Wars is Star Wars. It is now the only thing they're going to have to do now is lean maybe more into fantasy and go more in the past. That's still you're starting a brand new thing. So what you paid for, you're not going to get, it's going to take you years to get a return on that. And maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that'll force them to work and get creative.
Hey, Gary.
But that's not what they paid $1 billion for.
Did you see the comic series The Star Wars, which was based off of the original draft?
Yep. Yes, I did.
Yeah, and
I've read the original draft.
It is what we got
terrible.
with what was released in theaters is so superior to what George originally thought up.
Yep. Oh yeah, I mean, it was an evolution. We'll say that. But when I read the Star Wars script and I got it off of Drew's Scriptorama, does anybody remember that website? Anybody? There's a website that like offered up scripts that you can print off of.
Is that like? Did you need dial-up or something for that?
Yeah,
or?
this was in the 90s.
Nice.
This was like one of the first websites. And Drew's Scriptorama had that, and I remember printing it out, and it took like a couple hours to print out off a dial-up, and I had to change the cartridge like 6 times. And then I was sorry I ever read it. So, and I read James Cameron's Spider-Man script too, which was terrible. Party Alm CV for $1.99. Jedi Outcast and Jedi Academy should have been episodes 7 through 9.
You guys gotta go check out our videos on our video on Jedi Outcast. It's really good.
Yep.
Mark the Cyborg kicking ass, taking names.
Yep. Just re-released on Switch and PS4.
Yep.
I feel like the sequel trilogy should have focused more on the direct aftermath following the Return of the Jedi. I feel like Last Command. I feel like Thrawn should have been the big bad, and they should have had that saga play out because that Last Command saga with Thrawn, heir to the throne, you see Luke, Han, Leia, Chewie, Lando. They're all together again in that. It's a whole new saga with them as the forefront characters, and Thrawn is the big threat trying to regalvanize what's left of the Empire, and he almost wins back the entire galaxy.
He should have probably
of winning back the entire galaxy through absolutely amazing storytelling from Timothy Zahn. I mean, it was top notch.
I
think one of the things that happened was
Uche. Chat love that one.
Zahn was kind of like after the prequels, he was like, "You're not touching my stuff." But honestly, it should have been done in the 90s if they were going to do that series.
Yeah,
as
the
books were coming out.
Yeah, because then you'd have like you wouldn't be able to have Luke, Han, and Leia play it that way. So you'd have to find somebody else to do it. Then you'd have all that going on. I think that the easiest thing they could have done is just like I said. What I thought was going to happen when Disney bought Star Wars is with the EU, we were sitting at about 40 years, 45 years after the Battle of Yavin, which in real life we were almost at 40 years after A New Hope.
Yeah.
So that would have lined up really perfectly to have them come back, all be together for one movie, introduce the
new cast.
introduce the new cast, their children, and then let the takeover happen. It would have been perfect. You wouldn't have anybody comparing it. Oh, this isn't as good as it was in the books. You wouldn't have any of that.
No, I agree.
And they could
I
just
think
go
that,
through.
That would have been smart, but they
I just
didn't
wish
do
they
it.
did something new, something totally different.
Yeah, that's this is
Don't
gonna
touch
do
what's already there.
This is going to force them to do that. And the thing is, though, that's just not what they paid for, and they fucked themselves so hard by doing this. They made their life so unnecessarily hard by being lazy, not taking their time, hiring the wrong. Listen, George Lucas, and you could hear the Access Media spinning that this is George Lucas's hire. They're going to end that's what I did my video on. The Guardian wanted to call it the end of the George Lucas era of Star Wars. Well, it died when he sold the damn thing anyway. But Kathleen Kennedy became a company gal. She became a Disney employee. She doesn't. I haven't seen any of her loyalty to Lucas at all.
Yeah,
so,
I would agree with that.
I mean,
I kind of feel when Disney, I was hopeful when Disney bought it, because I think that my conspiracy theory is that the reason why the prequels were so bad was the fact that George was so burnt out on Star Wars. It was kind of a bit of an FU to the fans. I think that to a degree that Star Wars became his albatross, and nothing that he could do from then on would really kind of live up to the cultural impact that was Star Wars. So I think that was a bit of a burden. I think that's the reason why he also sold it. So when Disney bought it, I was very hopeful, and obviously now I'm not.
Yeah, it was.
I think we all were hopeful.
I think we all thought it was going to be a slam dunk. I mean, I just thought it was like I was like, we're going to get guaranteed good Star Wars, and the original 3 are coming back. But
they did a great job making us think they gave a shit.
Oh,
they did. They did a great job.
They did.
I mean, it's like how they presented Galaxy's Edge, how they had Mark Hamill and Harrison Ford and George Lucas and Billy Dee show up, to kind of introduce Galaxy's Edge. But by that time, we already knew their game, But if you go back to The Force Awakens and how they were pulling all the nostalgia strings on us, man, they were getting us. And
Chewie were home. Practical effects returning.
Yeah. Chewie, the Chewie were home, and the Mark Hamill voiceover, showing him touching R2 in the trailer. Like they got us, man. They got us, and I think I don't think that there's a wrong way. They didn't get me. No, I'm messing with you. But it's like we've all gotten to this point in a different way. Whether it was the pre-Force Awakens, post-Force Awakens, pre-Last Jedi, post-Last Jedi, Solo, Galaxy's Edge. Everybody is starting to wake up from this. Everybody is starting to wake up to it, and it's just a disaster, man.
This is the first domino to fall, and next year or next season, or if Picard comes out and it sucks, Star Trek is next. And I guarantee you Doctor Who's done. So those are your 3. And what happens at the end? Well, they'll just stop making this shit. And that's what we've been screaming. I mean, the dumb thing about all of this is we want to keep giving you money, you fucking morons, and you don't want to take it. And you want to attack us when we say we want to keep giving you money. And this is, and welcome to the new era of creativity. You now have the fans have a direct pipeline to you, unless you're off social media, and you're just going to have to deal. You're going to have to start being charming. There's already people who are ahead of the game on that, and they're figuring it out, and you will be left behind. Rian Johnson doesn't have the thick enough skin. He makes through Hollywood, but he can't handle social media, which is so weird.
That is pretty funny.
You got to have thick skin to make it in Hollywood. So we got Gary. Which day do you think you will do a meetup in New York City, Orville Nation, for $5?
Friday might be the best day, because Saturday is going to be the busiest day. I think Friday is going to be the busiest day. I would say stay tuned to our Twitter accounts, and we will give an announcement as soon as we can. When are you going to be in NYC, Gary? What day?
I think I'm flying in Thursday morning or Wednesday night or something.
Okay.
And
So
yeah.
we'll try to get something together and make an announcement. So I'm thinking Friday is going to be the day we're going to try to do something.
Yes, most definitely.
So
Chris Stanley for $5. Sometimes you have to kill the thing you love in order to save it. That is true. That is
Smother
so
it
true.
with a pillow.
Sad.
Yep.
They started to smother it with the pillow, then they shot it in the face while they had the pillow over its head.
I think that's accurate.
Modalicious for $5. Spidey and the Sony/Disney debacle goes back and forth so often it has become the Oprah Winfrey tennis match of entertainment. Says Modalicious for $5. Yeah, I don't care what they did to Spider-Man. I'm not happy he's back at the MCU. I hope I didn't give people the wrong impression when I was talking about that. I couldn't believe that he left the MCU. I'm not happy at all. How do you guys feel about Spidey being back at the MCU?
Are we really surprised by this?
No,
not surprised.
No.
I mean, like I said earlier, I thought that I always knew that they would get this figured out because there's just no way. There's too much money for Spider-Man. Yeah. For them
much money.
Yeah, there's too much money with. I mean, dude, Endgame made what? How much did it make? $2.7 billion. I mean, and I know that's not all Spider-Man, but Spider-Man is a major part of that.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way they were going to let this slide. I mean, there's way too much money.
Plus, they need him to prop up Captain Marvel. So.
Absolutely.
And I think
it doesn't make sense at all. How is Spider-Man supposed to make Captain Marvel more likable? I mean,
because we're in this weird age where we tear down likable characters to build up characters up. I don't understand this. That's what they did to Luke. They tore him down to build Ray up, and they're gonna do that to whoever they want to build Captain Marvel up, which is it's disgusting. But that's lazy writing. It's like I don't know where we fell into this lazy writing kind of thing, but it's just that's where we are.
Plot of the next Indiana Jones film will be a young woman who is the key to everything will be towing him around and teaching him how to be a better man because that's the same plot as I mean if you think about it,
everything else basically.
Logan did that plot right. That's like the one movie that kind of did it right, the girl that's the key to everything. And now we're getting it over and over. We're going to get it with Picard. And I know that Star Wars fans don't care, but if they screw up Picard, you're going to see, Star Trek fans get suicidal, unfortunately, or homicidal. One of the two.
I would say probably more homicidal than suicidal.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look at it. Logan did it without you actually really realizing it. You just felt it as the movie progressed, and you felt that he was starting to see where he had fallen off his track as that hero, that reluctant hero, and he had become selfish and only concerned about what happens to him, and he became very bitter about how the X-Men ended and how he now had to take care of Charles, and he was just looking for a way out on his own. And as the movie progressed, and this new batch of X-Men began to arise, and these little kids, he started to see in those kids what he should have been focusing on as a hero and trying to help his mutant kind, what was left of it, to get to survive, to live on. And he sacrificed himself in the end for it. And it was because of that girl. And that was the right way. That was intelligent scripting, intelligent writing to convey that message of, sometimes, and it's not even a message for men, it's a message for humans. Like sometimes seeing the goodness in others will inspire you to make the right decisions for the betterment of everyone. And they did it right, and that's why Logan will be held in high regard amongst all true pop culture fans of comic books and of Star Wars and all of our other major intellectual properties. It's all based on telling a good story and letting that story speak for itself, and don't tell us what the story is supposed to convey.
But that's like blasphemy these days. That's the thing that's so freaking stupid about all this.
Well, and Fox was forced into that though. See, Fox had fucked up the X-Men so much that they were actually forced into making good X-Men movies, and we got Deadpool and Logan because they were like, I don't even know what to do anymore. Here's 70 million, 100 million, just do what you want. And boom, we got a good movie. And we kind of need to get back to that. Everything's too producer driven. Now that's why this Kevin Feige, Kathleen Kennedy thing will never, ever, ever work, because they will. Okay. So Kevin Feige and Midnight Sedge brought this up in their video. Kevin Feige and Kathleen Kennedy are at an impasse. Who wins? Who does Bob Iger's there? He's the judge. Who is he going to acquiesce to? Is it going to be Kathleen Kennedy or is it going to be Kevin Feige? It's going to be Kevin fucking Feige.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has to be.
He's already seen what Kathleen Kennedy has to offer, and that shit sent us way up the creek without a paddle.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to say he'd probably end up siding with Kathleen Kennedy because she could probably play the Me Too card.
Well, as long as he's not cupping her butt or something. I mean, like I don't see how he says no to Kevin Feige.
I would agree with you, but this is 2019 where nothing makes fucking sense anymore.
Well, the reason she still has a job is because she has a woman. Even the Hollywood Reporter pointed that out, that it would create perception problems to get rid of Kathleen Kennedy.
Yep.
Yeah, it's impossible to fire her without something like that, some kind of backlash from all, the Mary Sue and all these other garbage tier sites and stuff like that.
Nobody gives a fuck about the Mary Sue except for us.
You guys check out her
such juicy articles.
Well, I'll tell you what, if Rise of Skywalker doesn't hit $1 billion, that'll be plenty of reason to fire her ass.
Yeah, I can't see that happening. I wish it was.
Something tells me that Rise of Skywalker is not going to hit $1 billion.
Okay, lightning round. What does Rise of Skywalker do? Start with you, Uche. What does it make worldwide?
I'll put it at 800, 850 max. Because I mean, think about this. I don't know what the temperature is on The Last Jedi outside of the U.S., but if it's anything like it is in the U.S., it's not going to hit $1 billion. Rise of Skywalker won't hit $1 billion.
I've always said that I think 900. It's going to make money, but if it does under $1 billion, it is catastrophic failure, and that's all I care about. They cannot spin it. If they do not hit the $1 billion mark, they can't spin it. So 900 million is the top for me.
Drunk 3PO.
Yeah, I agree. 950. The China market, they don't care about Star Wars, and that's gonna hurt. That's gonna hurt a lot of money coming into that movie. So 900 million, maybe because a lot of people are gonna be curious how this slow motion train wreck is gonna end. So, but I'm going to see Cats.
Me too. I'm getting my Cats tickets, and I'm going to go see Rise of Skywalker.
Think about what what pushes a movie over $1 billion. Repeat viewings.
Yep.
Do you think repeat viewings? Look at you look at The Last Jedi, and you look at obviously the aftermath of it. You look at what happened to Solo. Solo didn't even crack 400. I would have put Solo at close to $1 billion with no controversy at all, but because as a direct result of The Last Jedi, Solo didn't even make any money. It didn't make anything. And so how do you think that, a movie like Rise of Skywalker will receive at the very least the same amount of views and the same kind of repeat viewings that The Last Jedi got? I don't see that happening.
I was like, what are we looking at here? Hold on.
Oh no!
Is that Rainn Wilson?
Yeah.
Me and Abu Nas are gonna watch Cats and do a live stream review on it.
I don't want to be here anymore. I don't want to be here anymore.
Yeah.
I love musicals. No,
I have to go return some videotapes.
So I'm gonna say 1.1. I think it's gonna crack.
Jeremy, I got that.
I think it's gonna crack $1 billion. I think that there's too many people out there that want to see the train wreck, or just want to see the end of it, that are still actual fans. I really do. And even if it didn't, I don't know if there's any way that Disney would allow the box office numbers to say that it made less than $1 billion, to be quite honest.
Well, Ryan, me and my friends, I saw The Last Jedi 3 times. And not that because I thought it was a good movie, because I was confused. So I saw it again, and then when I saw it the third time, I brought some other friends came back with me to see it again, to be like, is this really that bad? Am I the only one? Like, I'm missing something. I kept saying I'm missing something, And so I think this time around that ain't gonna happen. And I know that happened with a lot of other people. They went and saw The Last Jedi more than once for repeat. I don't know if anybody here did.
I only saw it once.
Except
once
for me, but
I saw it once in the theater, and then I tried to watch it again on Netflix, and I fell asleep both times.
But yeah, even if it makes over $1 billion, which I think it will, that is a huge failure for them in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, this is the end of the saga. This should be like Endgame numbers. It really should.
Good. Think about
like
that.
Endgame numbers.
They can spin it. Though. They can spin it with $1 billion. They can spin it to their advantage, and they can spin it no matter how. Because if it doesn't make $1 billion, they're going to take
trolls and the
I'm saying they're going to take the Force Awakens, the Last Jedi, and the Rise of Skywalker, and they're going to take that cumulative number of whatever it's going to be, and it was like the sequel trilogy made so many billions of dollars, the highest grossing Star Wars trilogy of all time.
Don't talk about it in trilogy.
Right, because they're gonna spin it, and if they do start spinning it in that direction, if Rise of Skywalker comes into $1 billion, they've lost. Like they fucked up at that point, and it's gonna be. And that's the thing is they think fans are stupid. They think we don't understand how the game is played, but we do. And the rise of an independent media is showing that we're not as dumb as you think we are. We understand your game. We understand what you're doing, and we're going to take advantage of that. So just keep your eye out for that.
Yeah, especially when there's sites like Box Office Mojo that exist where you're able to go and see what a movie actually makes.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But I do think it will actually break $1 billion. As much as I'd love to say it only makes $700 million, but it's not making $2. Nowhere near it. I think it'll break $1 billion, and that's it. I think it may pull Captain Marvel numbers. I don't know.
Gosh, I just don't see it with the China market, man. No one in China is going to see this film.
That's why I couldn't understand Captain Marvel made $1 billion. Like, who watched it? Who watched it?
Oh, I don't trust those numbers at all. I just don't. I flat out don't. I think it's going to have a shockingly low domestic number, but it'll still make $1 billion. And I think Disney would fudge. And I think every studio, I don't think it's just Disney. I think every studio tries to fudge. And I made that argument with Avatar. I know some people liked Avatar, but again, I was there. I was working in LA when it came out. And I went opening weekend on a Saturday in an empty theater. It was an empty theater. So
the theater I was in was packed like a motherfucker, but hey. Avatar was an experience movie. That's the difference. This was new technology being introduced to the masses. And it's still to this day is the best 3D film that's ever been released. It had a real true to the core 3D look to it. And that is where, it gained a lot of its worldwide fame. But can they repeat that kind of success? I don't think that Avatar 2 is going to be anywhere near the first one in terms of, unless they bring out some new radical technology like glassless 3D, like where you don't need to wear glasses at all. I don't see it doing those kind of numbers.
I never listen. Avatar doesn't interest me at all. I will not see it in the theaters. I won't review it. I don't care. It's a boring story to me. But I never doubt James Cameron's ability to get to the normies. They love him. They love him.
I want to give this Terminator a chance, but something in me is like, don't even waste your time.
The Herminator.
The LGBT 1000. Yes.
I want to see it just because I want to see a beautiful dumpster fire. And that's the reason why I also want to see Thor: Love and Thunder.
Oh my god!
It's going to be such a beautiful dumpster fire.
No, wait, Terminator's different this time, though, guys, because we're doing it with girls. Well, you did it with girls before. No, more girls. More girls.
Hamilton will probably be the plus of that movie, the lone bright spot in it, because I got a special place in my heart for her. I had a crush on her in Terminator 2, boy. Oh!
Yeah, Little Hamilton was badass in Terminator 2.
Badass, boy.
Absolutely. No doubt about that, but she looks like Hillary Clinton now. Gimp Rider 66 for $2. Star Wars and the MCU both need a long break. I think if the MCU took a breath for a couple of years, it would do it a lot of good. I think people would miss it, and you know, going off on a high note, I think
they've
that's
reached saturation point. That's for sure.
But
I tell you, man, it's getting to the point now where it's like, I know I sent you like a bunch of articles, and I don't know if you saw the one about how they're thinking of casting a female Ghost Rider now. It's like, I'm at the point where I feel like I'm getting trolled. You know, it's like, we're gonna race swap all these characters, and we're also gonna gender swap all of these other ones.
And they had one in the comics, but it's like, you know, I mean, just go.
Stop.
Yeah, stop.
That's it. Stop.
It's getting to the point where it's so ridiculous. It's so fucking ridiculous. It's like this has to be a joke now. They're doing it to fuck with us. I swear.
Well, that's what I said in my female Gandalf video.
Magneto, I was like, oh, get the fuck out of here.
But that one's happening. That one is 100% happening. And
What? Why? What is he going to be? Is he going to be? I mean, he can't be part. He couldn't have been in the Holocaust. So what's he going to be? Is he going to be a soldier that came back from World War II and now is getting, you know, beat up by white folks in the street?
Can Chris Tucker play him though? Can Chris Tucker play him like Smokey? Can we have that? I'll go see that.
There's stuff they could do. They could use like that, you know, some sort of like, I think like the Rwandan genocide or something like that. I mean, there's ways
the easiest way to do it, because I mean, for one, I mean, he was already a Jew that survived the Holocaust. You could just say his mutation makes him age slower.
You could just not address it. That's the easiest.
Well, that's part of his. I mean.
That is part of what makes Magneto Magneto.
Exactly.
You
take that away, he's not Magneto anymore.
Exactly.
So it's like I said in my video.
And you look at it like Batman. Like, okay, Batman is technically 80 years old, but Batman is also still 28 years old. You know what I mean? Like, we don't give a fuck about how old Magneto would be. He's Magneto. There's no age on him. He's just Magneto. Leave it alone.
That's the one thing I like about Tim Burton's Batman is it's like this ageless story. You can't really pin down what time it is. It looks kind of like the 80s, but then it looks kind of like the 30s, and they make it noir style. I missed when they did that.
So they did the exact same thing with Batman the Animated Series, which was I thought was great. You're not really sure what kind of era it's set in. It just works. And that's kind of a good way of being able to deal with Batman and maybe to a certain degree the X-Men, but it's a little late now with the MCU being established. And my other thing too is, how the hell are they going to work them in at this point? We've had a decade of Marvel movies, and we already saw what happened when they tried shoehorning in Captain Marvel. How the fuck are they going to shoehorn in the X-Men now?
Reboot.
I don't even think you bring the X-Men in as a literal part of the MCU as it exists. I think you put them in their own corner and you let them rock in their own little universe. Maybe you have one or two characters who you can, you know, bring in on a kind of a crossover basis. But I mean, how do you the stories are so different even in the comic books, like they're separate almost. So
you'd have to reset the whole universe.
Yes.
You can't just drop them in because they have tons of history, and you can't just like, oh, we're going to address this now. So I think you're right, Uche, but they're not going to do that, unfortunately. And they're not going to be the X-Men. They're not going to be called the X-Men. They're going to be
we can't call them X-Men anymore. Like, you changed their name, and that's the last straw.
I just love how Deadpool makes a joke about that.
Yeah, the PG-13 Deadpool. Okay, let's get some super chats out of the way here. Lady Miss for $2. What is your favorite starship? The Starship Enterprise Constitution class from the Star Trek.
NCC 17.
But I also like the one in the motion picture too, which is, I can't remember if that's A. If it's I can't remember.
Yeah, I think it's actually classified as being Enterprise class.
Man, let me see that Starship Chimera.
Joni, but other than that, I like the Battleship Yamamoto from Star Blazers. I love that ship as well. I like ships. You can see if I'm in my studio, go look at my ceiling. I've got tons of them hanging. I like the Orville. I got to. Oh, I can't say that. Never mind.
Almost broke
Shut
the NDA.
Ooh.
I'm a big
Somebody had
fan
their
of
finger
Zentradi
right over-
warships, personally.
Somebody had their finger right over send for that lawsuit, that lawsuit for that NDA. They heard you.
Damn. Oh, shit. Why's Gary got a giant robot schlong mic? That's right. Thank you, Joni Baloney, for $2. Kid Menu Jeremy for $5. MOS was about a Man of Steel was about an orphan from Krypton with an absent-minded adopted farmer father that ends up being a super-powered spree killer.
We get into that. We're going to be here a long ass time.
That is the.
Me and Uche need to talk about it though.
You guys talk about it. It's, I like Henry Cavill is a great Superman. That I want him to continue being Superman. I like him. He looks like Superman. He just needs a better script, and he'd be great.
Yes, and he needs to smile too.
We've never seen
Superman does.
We've never seen a Superman origin story like that before. So that's where we were going to. Everything he goes through, he becomes the Superman.
Don't get Uche started. Don't get Uche started.
Gimp Rider 66 for $2. Gotta agree about PTSD Batfleck. So he agrees. Echo Base Network for $4.99.
That was Uche's burner accounts. All it was.
Echo Base Network for $4.99. Monday, Matt tried to tell me Sony caved today. It seems to me that Disney is the one that came back to the table. Thoughts?
There was give on both sides. I mean,
yeah, it was negotiation.
Yeah, there's too much easy money on the table for Sony, and too much riding on Spider-Man for the MCU. We knew it had to work out most likely. I was hoping it wouldn't throw a wrench in MCU, but
no. Here's what I think happened: is Sony is for sale, and they are more valuable with Spider-Man than without them, because if Sony gets sold and there's no the Spider-Man agreement lapses back to Marvel. And if it gets sold to Apple, but if you have an agreement in place, then if Apple buys Sony, they get part of Spider-Man, and it makes your company more valuable. That's just my speculation.
Yeah, I haven't looked into it. There's the whole Apple rumor about them wanting to buy Sony.
Yeah, Apple and CB, or do they want to buy Sony or CBS?
I heard that it was Apple looking into possibly buying Disney. That's what I heard.
I heard that too. And they talked about it in Bob Iger's autobiography.
$1 trillion in cash.
Jesus.
But they're going to need something, and they have a ton of money, but their streaming service is not going to fly. It's going to be the first one to die.
They don't have anything.
Get back to building better hardware, man.
Yeah,
seriously. Dude. Your laptops stink. I know you're pushing the whole iPad thing, and they're going to try and use it to replace their laptops. But seriously, dude, your iPad 2015, excuse me, your MacBook Pro 2015 was awesome. It's all garbage now. Sorry, rant over.
No, their computers suck, and I used to love their computers, and the Surface Pro is way better than the freaking iPad.
Windows.
What was that?
Said Windows for life.
I've been using a Mac laptop for pretty much close to 15 years now, and I recently switched back over to PC. I actually got a Surface Book 2, which is amazing.
Yeah, that's what I did. I was a Mac for a decade and switched back to PC because they suck. Mac sucks now. Matticus Finch 1820 for $5. Damon Wayans as Handyman, better origin than Man of Steel. Gimp Rider 66. Gimp Rider 66 for $2. Disney's last good movie was Fantasia. Ian Slater for $2. Doomcock's response was a clinic in language. It really was. I meant to share that, but I've been on the road.
It was great.
Absolutely wonderful. And he told me he was going to work hard on that one. And yeah, well, he and I we're going to talk about the Inquisition, but he was more like I think he was a little not like he wasn't butthurt. He was stunned. He was just like, why didn't you just go over the rumor? Why, and if, the guy obviously looked over Doomcock's channel, but didn't listen to anything the guy did, to come up with that, that we are the, what did they call us?
The white nationalist fringe.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
What do you think about that, Uche?
Is this that Inverse article?
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow, I haven't read it yet.
I
went on some fucking loser's YouTube video where he talked about Nazi YouTube channels, and a lot of the super chats were talking about Geeks and Gamers, and I just left a nice long, lengthy, factual message about how completely ignorant what they're talking about was. But no, dude, like I said, Jeremy knows. I tracked all of your channels: Nerdrotic, Geeks and Gamers, Quartering, Midnight's Edge, Doomcock. I've been watching those channels for over a year before I actually reached out and talked with Jeremy. I already knew what the messages were, because if you're a fan of anything if you're a fan of Star Wars, Star Trek, DC, MCU, if you're a real fan, you understand how those conversations go when things start going awry. And it's a lot of pointing out the symptoms to why things are going awry. And with Star Wars, it was the injection of all these identity politics. With Doctor Who, with Star Trek, it's all this injection of identity politics. When you have political ideologies crossing over into fantasy, that is like a cardinal sin to the fan basis of that.
It really
is. We hate that. We all hate it. We hate it with a passion, because now you're taking all of the fantasy away and you're bringing the real world into it. And we don't want that. That's not what we want. We want to stay. We want to separate that. That's our escapism.
So well said. And there's not one fan. There's not one true fan of this stuff that supports identity politics being pushed into any of these things that they were fans of. Nobody wants to sit there and go, oh yeah, I'm totally fine with these people being upset about the current occupant of the White House, therefore they're going to interject this into our movies. No real fan is for that. It just isn't.
Yeah, I don't want kind of fantasy representation of Donald Trump in a movie.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Positive or negative. Positive or negative.
That has no place in a fantasy movie or fantasy titles. It just doesn't.
Yep.
But that's the thing, we're not allowed to have escapism anymore. That's kind of the issue. And to top it off, Uche, they're going to call you a white supremacist as well, because apparently people of color can be white supremacists now because of the fucking Access Media.
Just some guy.
Hey, but listen, Uche's already been through this. All right, so Uche has been a professional football player for 7-8 years. Seen the highs and lows of that. You've seen it all. You've been through your trials and tribulations. You've told me some of the stories about you ran your mouth and got in trouble. But even still, with all that, he comes on to Geeks and Gamers, and he and I have a discussion. We were just open-ended discussion. And somewhere along the way, he talks about how he didn't really like the movie Black Panther because he didn't feel that it was a good representation of African people in Africa, because he's actually an African. And I got this long email from this a black activist or something, and
black of Islam under fucking Louis Farrakhan type shit. Louis Farrakhan is a fucking pedophile and he's a fucking homosexual.
So this guy was like, Jeremy, I respect you, yada yada yada, blah 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 blah, but you had Uche on your channel, and he said some highly offensive things against my people, and we are prepared to make this an international issue if you do not force him to apologize. And I'm like, have fun with that. First of all, you've never watched my channel if you think I'm going to remotely respond to this. But number two, you want the powerful white man to make the black man apologize? Like, really? Really? You
want to tell an African how to feel about African shit?
I'm pretty sure they'll just fire back with you're just not black enough.
Yeah, I'm not black enough. Son of immigrants who came to this country with fucking nothing. You know what I mean? I've lived in Africa for a year, and it wasn't even about Black Panther as a movie. It was about the fact that, one, you have a you know, and I don't want to get into race, but this is just the fact of the matter. You got a white movie producer who decides he wants to make a black movie about Africa, a fictional African country, and he's going to put as many black people in the movie as he can, only to have those black people ultimately be saved by a white man in order for the story to come full circle. And then you trick all the black people in America into thinking that this is really representation of Africa. So they start going to the fucking movie theaters wearing African shit that is not African. And us Africans who are really African and see that, we actually get offended because we're like, motherfucker, you never wore dashikis back when Malcolm X was out there. Motherfuckers. And every time we come around, y'all call us African booty scratchers, but now y'all want to be African because Black Panther's out. That's how they got y'all fucked up and got y'all's mind completely twisted, thinking that this is Africa. It's not even a real fucking country. It's not even a real country. And the only real country in Black Panther, they show the people in those countries is Paris, which was Nigeria in the beginning. It ain't African.
Oh, man, all I said is, you know, the movie kind of sucks, but I mean, that's another perspective.
I gave it an 8 out of 10 and got called a Klan member. No shit.
Because you didn't give it a 10. That's why, Jeremy.
Yeah. Yes.
I thought
obviously.
the character of Black Panther was boring as fuck in that movie. It's his movie.
Yeah, he was
emotionless.
He's the
most boring character.
Yes, thank
You're
you.
like, no, he's not boring. He's regal. I'm like, no, he's fucking boring.
He's not.
What
He's
are you
boring
talking
as fuck,
about?
dude.
Yeah.
He was way better in
I really like that
Civil
film,
War.
so I stick out.
Gary, I'm sorry.
It's all right.
I'll get my boys calmed down. So you get Uche rolling.
I'd let this stuff go. That's good. Live streaming.
Hey, try dealing with Uche in person again. Like I said, screaming at the fucking cops, all this shit.
Only because I'm passionate about life.
And I love that.
I was telling you, this dude.
Paper to calm down. Like,
in fairness to Uche, because I was worried because me and Aaron were acting real stupid with those press passes. We were acting real stupid, but Uche set the tone for us. But we had all the old school dudes were side eyeing us because they're like, who the fuck are these guys? Me and Aaron would run around like, I don't know. It was fun. It was fun. But I knew we had Uche there to have our back, so it was all good.
Bird of Prey 5, Kapla, my friend. Nerdrotic Jeremy, Lineman, Drunk 3PO, and RK Outpost love these Friday night shows. Keep fighting the good fight. Thank you, my friend. Now, special shout out to Bird of Prey because I just want to reset this for anybody who doesn't know that Bird of Prey 5 is a YouTuber. He is bedridden due to health issues, and he has like the best attitude towards life ever. People who he's got gratitude in his life, so it's an inspiration. So we love Bird of Prey.
Sure, man.
I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, me neither. That's incredible.
Yeah,
I'll look him up.
Yeah, he live streams. He's a good dude. Good dude.
Is there any way we'll send some Geeks and Gamers merch his way, maybe? So we can do that. You got contact info on him,
I do.
Gary?
I do.
All right, we'll handle it.
I'm going to dox you, Bird of Prey 5. I'm going to just give it to everybody. Okay, buddy. Captain Spire for $2. There are so many here. You can form Voltron. We could. Dark Knight of Thrones for $2. Hail the Fandom Menace.
Voltron. I have it.
Do you have one?
The original.
Yeah.
Nice. Dang, that's awesome.
That is nice right there.
I saw one at Legoland. They were selling for $500 freaking dollars, and my kid wanted. I said, "Hell no."
Yeah, this is like the '80s. The '80s
Dude,
one.
that thing is not $500. You could buy it off their website for cheaper than that. That's ridiculous.
Not that one. The enormous one.
Obi-Wan 27883 for $2. The view at Galaxy's Edge, newly renamed #Ghost Town. Chris Chambers for 5 Canadian pesos. I agree, Gary. I'm just going to end it right there because I like that. No, Hollywood produced movies as well as TV almost never depicted a father as respectable unless he's dead or later revealed as a villain. Yep. I'm working on. I've been trying to write this video for 2 years on Hollywood's bad fathers, and it's too much to put into. It would be like a Mahler length thing, and I need to get it down. I'll probably have to make a list of top 10 like bad fathers in Hollywood and why they hate fathers. And this has been going on for a long time. It started out as like a trope, and now it's turned into, patriarchy bad. Art Fusco for $2. Hey, Gary, congrats on visiting the Orville set. Well, thank you very much. It was a lot of fun. It was absolutely worth the short trip prior to going to New York. Siberius for $5. They irreversibly broke Star Wars. Even if the films get better, the continuity is toast. You'd have to retcon everything, which would admit defeat.
Which is why they're doing the whole time travel bit. Not.
We're gonna go back in time and we're gonna kill Rey before she's ever born.
That might be the one thing that they could do that would make everybody happy.
So,
might get some applause. I don't know if it'll fix Star Wars. But.
What are you guys' thoughts on the whole rumor that she's going to be Palpatine's relative?
Who cares?
That's actually a great answer, Uche, because I don't care. I don't care what they do. That's the thing. I'm so emotionally disconnected from any of the rumors, and I kind of am at the point where the worse it can be, the better it is for me at this point. And that's why I keep saying I want to see Creed do the opening crawl, with Scott Stapp and everything, just sing it with his shirt unbuttoned, blowing in the wind. I don't care about this movie. But we've heard all the stuff. She's going to raise the Death Star over Jakku. She's going to have this new force ability that's going to be like this most powerful force ability ever. The thing with Palpatine, it's just such nonsense. And
she's going to bring the happiness monster back to life.
It's hilarious that the worse it is, the better it's going to be, because it's going to be so stupid.
Yeah,
I mean, the fact that they brought Palpatine back, when I heard the laugh at the end of the trailer, and I was watching during the Star Wars celebration, and I was just like, I felt cool about it at that point because of the actor. I forget his name.
Ian McDermott.
Yeah.
That's right. And that was about it, dude. I was like, but why? Why bring him back? That means you're reaching back again for nostalgia. And we don't want that. Give us something new. That's what George Lucas said. He said, this shit is garbage because it's nothing new. You're just retreading everything that he's already done.
Did Luke and Anakin sacrifice? I mean, completely. If he is still alive, you just took that away. You just destroyed the original trilogy. Destroyed it further. Seahawk Scott for $5. We need a Luke farce ghost. That's the ticket. Eric K for $4.99. So Gary, you're saying you may be easy, but you're not cheap. Exactly.
I can confirm that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Quiet.
I like how you went side-eyed all of a sudden.
Lily Mack for $2. Nothing to say. Thanks for the $2, Lily.
Drunk got ice cream when he was hanging out with me, so and a couple of near heart attacks when we were driving.
And the ride of a lifetime.
Yeah.
I'm with you driving, not once. Nina Fabiano for $10 or $18. Wow, because super chats are better than ad revenue. Well, thank you, Nina, because I guarantee you this one got demonetized. I thank you for the $18, Nina, because we were talking about Joker in the beginning. Echo Base Network for $1.99. Looks like Eddie Murphy is caving to the PC crowd. I thought he was doing a comedy special on Netflix. Is it like PC?
I think he came out and apologized for Raw and Delirious.
Oh,
what?
No.
Raw?
That's what I heard.
That's
someone can check.
Sad.
Raw was one of the best stand-ups I ever seen.
Ever.
For sure.
Hey,
I'm not 100% sure on that, but people been texting me that, so I don't know.
Yeah, here it is. Eddie Murphy expresses remorse for ignorant jokes in Raw and Delirious.
I lost another one.
No.
I can't.
I think Uche is crying.
It's an article from OK Player. Have you heard of that, Uche? I feel like.
Uche? Why are you gonna ask Uche if he's heard of OK Player?
It sounds like his kind of article here.
This just in: Paul McCartney has apologized for the White Album. So
That was clearly a dog whistle by naming it the White Album. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
he apologizes and
It's
wished
okay.
they could have called it the Black Album. Well played, Gary.
Uche, is Uche still
Uche's
with us?
dead.
Dead. R.I.P.
okay?
Uche in the chat.
I was looking at the super chats. Is he okay? I gotta check in on him.
I feel bad for all those
no.
kids that have
We
bowl
lost
cuts
them.
right now because you know they're being called Nazis.
Yep.
You what supremacist? No, my parents are cheap.
Sons of bitches just ruined my childhood. They just ruined everything.
They are.
It's 2019, man. This is where good stuff goes to die.
Motherfucker, you did Raw back in the 80s. Fuck.
He inspired a generation of kids.
Oh, that bit about the Rocky movies was the funniest shit I ever seen, and it was also one of the most racist things you could ever say. Hey, why you think that is fucking moody?
The ice cream man bit was my favorite because I was
Yep. No, the ant falling down the stairs. Oh, Jesus.
yeah, my shoe.
Kaiju Spirit for $10. Gary, you absolute boomer. You skipped a chunk of super chats in your Disney Culture of Betrayal stream. Mine included, it was regarding Malin. He knows of you. Reach out and get him as a guest on the Exozone. I will. Yeah, I heard about that, Kaijin. I guess I did boomer that one. So I'm going to do a makeup for that probably tomorrow. So sorry about that. But yeah, sometimes the super chats jump on you and you miss it. And I guess I missed like 10.
That happens I hate when that list jumps, man. It really can screw you up.
So yeah, as a matter of fact, I better check. Okay. Now I'm thinking about it. Okay, we good. But hey, Kaiju, thanks for heads up, man. Sorry about that. Yeah, there will be a makeup stream tomorrow or Sunday. I don't know. Soon. Obi-Wan for again. KK was the water boy for the football team. That's right.
There you go.
Amadula Amblangara.
That sounds about right.
It just jumped. Christy for $2. Love the Friday night streams. We love you, Christy. What was that, Uche?
No, I was just. I mean, look, man. I'm kind of in disbelief at the age that we're in, dude. Like, for me personally, I never really paid attention to a lot of the extra shit with the identity politics until I started, paying attention to you guys' channels. Like, I already, I knew about the whole fandom menace thing with Star Wars. I knew about those things. And I had my, obviously I had my own feelings about, the sequel trilogies, but just, I became more aware of the actual climate of social discord through watching you guys' videos. And now today I'm like, God dang, these people, people really do just get offended at anything. And they demand that you apologize, like, for everything. And when you're making somebody apologize for something that he did like 20 years ago in a world where it was purely viewed as the comedy that it was, and you hold them to account for it, 20 years later, 25 years later, 30 years later. I mean, what the hell? Are we going forward or backward?
We're going backwards.
So far backward.
Where are we going?
So far backward.
It blows my mind. That's
the path of destruction. I mean, and it's really over stuff. Like you said, it's so old, it shouldn't make a difference. And what they just did to that poor kid with the Anheuser-Busch thing, I don't know the whole story on that one, but I heard that, some newspaper went and dug up a tweet when he was 16.
He didn't know shit.
I mean, exactly. I mean, that's like the kind of person that would do that. For one, you're the worst kind of person, the worst kind of snitch, the worst. I mean, just everything. Well,
but yeah, and just trying to hold somebody accountable for shit they said when they were 16. I mean, come on, man. We're all dumb when we're teenagers.
Yeah,
man. That's so fucking stupid.
Yeah.
And now that guy's getting canceled because somebody went through his tweets.
Oh, that was
worse
hilarious, man.
Yeah, which was funny, but that sucks. I mean, it's just no. Yeah.
Well, it's you reap what you sow, man.
Yep.
I mean, that reporter fucking deserved it after what he did.
Yep.
He could have left
totally
it alone.
agree.
We all say stupid shit. We all made mistakes, but no, this guy had to go and drudge it up and make the hero look like shit because everybody loves the fall of an icon. Not that he's an icon, but it's the same idea.
Yeah.
I didn't even give him a chance. Go on.
I was just going to say one last thing. It's impossible, right? With the way that language is changing all of a sudden, where things that were acceptable 6 months ago are now, trigger worthy or cancel worthy. It's impossible to not say anything that would have been offensive, 5 years ago. So it is literally, Uche, like you said, it's hard to believe we live in this world right now.
Like things are just getting too, I mean, there's not even like a gray area anymore. Like it's, and at some point you would chalk up somebody's bad verbiage and bad language as just a different time. That was a different time when that was acceptable. And, you leave it at that. I mean, you at least give them an opportunity to show what they are now, who they are now in today's age. And then you judge them from that. But I mean, damn, Eddie Murphy having the regret. He hasn't got no fucking regrets about what he said. That shit made him a superstar. But now you're putting him in a position where if he doesn't do it, he can't move forward as a celebrity in this world.
Yeah, Eddie's wanted acceptance for so long, and he's never needed it. Okay, the dude was a superstar in the 80s. He was my favorite actor in the 80s. He's in one of my all-time favorite movies, 48 Hours. The dude has never needed what he desires, and I don't understand that. I don't care what mistakes he's made. It's never bothered me at all. The guy was a genius comedian. And I don't know what happened. Hollywood happened.
He started making Disney movies, is what it was.
Yeah, and Chappelle talked about this. He's like, listen, to be successful, to make it in Hollywood at any level, you got to be tough. So something is wrong here, and it is, and it's the culture here. It's people are. I mean, you do have to feel sorry for stars in this aspect. They don't know who to trust. Like they never know who to trust, and that must be just a fucked up way to live. And that I do have human empathy for them for that. And
the ones that have been around, the ones who found their fame back in the era preceding the one we're in, like they were there before social media, they were there before the internet, and now that new era of communication and media has totally engulfed them, and they can't even relive those glory days, because to this world those glory days are completely unacceptable.
They are erased.
Well, what fucked everything up was social media.
Yeah, absolutely.
People on social media.
Yeah, the people on social media. When social media became weaponized when it became a weaponized platform, that's when things went totally to shit. And, I remember we used to just look to social media really for we looked to celebrities to see what they put on social media, and then it went from looking to celebrities to looking for the meme culture that started up. That's where social media became fun. People were like, "Oh, find me a new meme, find a new meme." But now, to a certain degree, I would say Barack Obama is somewhat to blame for that as well, because he actually made it a actual trend for politics to get involved in social media. He started that kind of that movement of politics into social media to his benefit, and not necessarily with the intended consequences that we're seeing now. But that was the starting point. Was you see a big presidential candidate who really mobilized a lot of his base through social media, and now that just mutated into politics having its own universe, its own world operating in the social media atmosphere. And once everything starts mixing in, because the internet and social media was really the place for the most raunchiest, the most uncensored behavior you could find, and not have to face any kind of consequences for it, because it was deemed acceptable, because you're kind of in you're kind of in international waters. There are no real laws here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's where like a lot of the internet jokes, but like the whole thing with like blue waffles and lemon party and all the other raunchy shit from the internet. I mean, oh yeah, that site's gone, but yeah, there's a lot of like goatsy stuff like that. All that stuff was because of the internet.
In vogue in 2000. It was to be edgy, and again, it was the Wild West. There were no consequences through 2008 through 2012, 13. That shit was fine. It was totally okay. Yeah. Everybody was doing it, and now it's not okay that quickly. Usually, it takes, like you said, Uche, it takes a couple decades for us to get there. And Ryan said this too. Now it's months. Yeah. Now it's months, and it's stupid. All right, we got to get some super chats out of the way. Doker D says Jendi Tartakovsky's Clone Wars was better. So that's the
2003 version,
the Samurai Jack one. Yes.
Yep.
I liked it.
I did like those.
Siberius for $5. Jeremy said it best. Filoni just liked to do his own thing. CW isn't bad, but Mandalorians and Death Watch got screwed. Read Jango Fett open seasons. There you go.
Yeah, I agree.
JPRPH1 for $4.99. Hail all, great interaction tonight. Just showing my support for you all and your content. Next week, could you book Drunk 3PO's chair as a guest? Yes.
All right. Hold on. I gotta defend that. So I had a live stream and I had set the timer on StreamYard and I was like trying to do 5 things at once. I accidentally hit go live when I went out. And so my chair was streaming live for like 40 minutes.
Oh, that's fucking hilarious.
And then my friends were texting me. They're like, bro, you're live. I'm like, no, I'm going live in like another hour. They're like, no, you're live now and you're getting super chats. I'm like, so I go back and I'm like checking my phone and I'm like, I'm like trying to like talk into the chat. People send me like $200 for the chair. They're like asking the chair questions. We love the chair. They're like,
that's fucking ridiculous.
There we go.
There we go. The real star of the show, folks.
I can see the appeal of just that. I can understand that.
They were like, what's your favorite Star Wars movie? Drunk 3PO's chair? What's your, here's another $10 super chat. What's that put? I was like, I'm just going to stream my chair from now on because I don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
And, it became a joke. So,
hey, Jeremy, April 1st, if you can remember that, we need to have a 6-person chair stream.
Oh, that's great.
Ooh. And because of the famous waffle daddy waffle happening stream last night, I think I've got to buy PewDiePie's chair. So the Can You Do This chair, it's apparently I've got to do that. So I might could feature the Can You Do This chair in that stream. That's going to spice things up a lot.
Ryan, in your Geeks and Gamers contract, didn't it say that we were all getting PewDiePie chairs? Or was that mine?
I heard we were getting PewDiePie chairs. We were doing G Fuel, glug glug glug, but I haven't seen any of that yet. So I'm pretty pissed.
Jeremy, I didn't get my YouTube money, buddy. You forgot to pay me.
I'm dropping the ball, guys. I apologize. I
got kids to feed.
I'm waiting on. We're trying to trademark Daddy Waffle happening right now, and then after that, it is happening. It's happening. It's happening.
Go
chat.
register the domain, man. Go get the domain.
I know. I'm gonna have to do all. It's last night. I guess I was getting trolled by this anime thing. I don't know, and I flipped it on them. This is what I do, And so I flipped it, and then we turned it into this Daddy Waffle happening. Because at one point I said something about happening, and I said happening, and I said it like 3 different sentences, and I said, did I really say happening that many times? And I turned it into it's happening. And then they started talking about the movie The Happening with Mark Wahlberg, and I said, well, we'll go ahead and stream that, when I get back from New York. And then everybody's calling me Daddy in the chat. And then there's like people waffle, and then we turned into Daddy Waffle happening. And then it turned into people were changing movie names to waffles, the rise of Waffle Walker or whatever, there's just The Last Waffle. And it just turned into my chat was moving faster than it's ever moved in the entire existence of my channel. I couldn't keep up. I was completely overwhelmed last night. It was the most stupid and entertaining thing ever, and I lost all control, and it's beautiful. So it's turned into this whole waffle thing now.
Lori Wilson brought the syrup.
Do what?
Lori Wilson, she brought the syrup.
She actually
syrup.
No, you know what she did? She said I'm a waffle supremacist just a few minutes ago. She said I'm a waffle supremacist. And what was it? Candace last night said it was a what did she say? Candace, repeat what you said because it was so good. She had a really good pun. And if she can say that really quick. But yeah, so that's the story behind the waffle thing. It's taken over. It's been everywhere, all because of one stupid stream. And then I was screaming. I'm like, why are 1,200 people watching me talk about waffles right now?
Dude.
You know,
something for everybody. You know, there really is. Seahawks God for $5. How about with all of your collective energies, the fandom can come up with a new universe? People are doing that. People are already doing that. But this isn't like Comicsgate. We can't like make movies and TV shows. We got to support good ones when they come out. That's why I support the Orville and the Expanse until they go woke. Hopefully they won't. And when you got to support the good with the bad. Unfortunately, we keep getting bad because people just keep being consumers and not discerning fans with critical thought. And it said Star Wars, so I'm going to open my mouth. Just put that in my mouth because it says Star Wars. It has the letters in the right order to say Star Wars or Star Trek or Doctor Who. And now they're finding out that there are critical fans. The thing is, they had the Access Media, Star Wars, Star Trek, Doctor Who, defending them for this long, and they're actually figuring out that the Access Media was bullshitting them for access, and it wasn't true. And there's actual fans out here who give a shit. Kathleen Kennedy is the first name in my death note, says Modalicious. Okay, that's dark. For $2. Thank you, Modalicious. $2 more, Modalicious. Gauntlet radiation starts mutations. X-Men. Ta-da! Maybe. You'd have to go generations though, unless they all like grew up from babies in like a year. That'd be
yeah. I'm not sure how that would have worked.
They're all like little eggs. What are you laughing about over there?
I'm laughing at the stream. There's all this stupid stuff they're saying about waffles right now.
Strike back.
The waffle strike. Waffle does Dallas, or Debbie does a waffle.
Kingdom of the Crystal Waffle. Waffles versus happening. Release the daddy cut.
Insane hippie. What is this? Insane hippie sane for $20. Everyone with the X gene ages slower than normal baseline human, and Magneto has done stuff to slow his aging. Unless your mutation has a bad effect on your body because your powers are like Quicksilver. See, it's really that easy. But they're going to have to restart the universe. Uche's right. There's no way in hell you can introduce the X-Men and it would make any sense in current MCU.
Yeah.
Nicholas Horton for $5. Hail Gary, hail the fandom members, Menace members. They'll mention or bring the X-Men into the MCU during Doctor Strange 2. Yeah, they're going to bring them in from a multiverse. That is dumb. Predictable and basic. Bitch. Did anyone watch the Netflix Voltron? Wasn't happy they killed Allura off, says Nicholas Horton for £5.
I did not watch it.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, it wasn't. It was okay.
I didn't.
Brad Lancaster for 2 Canadian pesos. DS9 had a good father and son story. It did, and that's why it's probably my favorite Star Trek right now, Brad. But that's an outlier. That is an absolute outlier. C3PO for $2. My drunk counterpart is a toxic man-child.
Oh, okay. Whoever that person is follows me on every freaking live stream and posts that same super chat. So like,
come on, man! It's free money. You know,
it's not my money. It's Gary's money. If he gives it to me, that's one thing.
Hey, C3PO, you're welcome here anytime.
That'd be funny if he never super chats you. It's just literally every other stream you're on.
He super chats the streams that I'm on. Never super chats.
He never super chatted you, but he super chats every stream you're on.
Yeah.
That is the greatest troll I've ever heard. That is so good. That is so good.
Is that you, Jeremy?
No, but I'm gonna have you on more often now, so I can get the super chat
Yeah.
money.
Hey, shut up. That was fine.
It's the same
I'm
super
kidding.
chat.
So would you take the guy's mom out to dinner and never call her again or something? Or what the hell?
I can't believe I missed that. He kind of snuck that in, didn't he?
Yeah.
Great. Look at you all crying at my expense.
A long time no see Keely Ann. I haven't seen Keely Ann around these parts.
Jeremy's crying.
That was good, man. That was good. I didn't realize he never super chats you because he super chatted me many times when you were on.
Yeah, I remember the last time he super chatted me.
That's fantastic.
Everybody would choose.
That's probably the whole joke behind it too.
Yeah.
He's probably they just figured it out now, or I did. Thank you, Keely Ann, for the $5. Just stopped by to say hi. It's good to see you. Haven't seen you in a long time, so glad that you're back. Brad Lancaster for Canadian $2. Last Toonie, I have to go watch old Eddie Murphy. While you still can, because you know what's next. You know what's next, Uche? They don't make these things available for us anymore. It's going to all be digital, and they're going to either edit it or just ghost it. It'll be gone.
They're going to edit it or they're
Buy
going
the DVDs now if you can find them.
I guess it's going to be like trying to find the Lion King. Shit.
It'll be like when they edited the Bill Nye Netflix show when he talked about how there's only two genders. And they completely edited that out and removed it from the show.
Oh, are you serious?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, he did. Bill Nye, the science guy, did a whole topic about gender and sex.
No, I remember seeing that after his special he had on Netflix, everybody was posting that shit from his original TV series. The fact that they went and edited it is crazy. Oh, by the way, there's a great documentary I have to recommend to you guys. It came out in 2015, and it's called "Can We Take a Joke," which talks a lot about the whole thing that's been going on with comedy, obviously for a couple of years now. But the really interesting thing is they talk about cancel culture before anyone knew to call it cancel culture.
2015 is when it started.
Yeah, it really did. Actually, it was earlier than that. It was with that one chick who was flying to Africa, and she made that tweet, and she got fired. I think she was probably the first victim of cancel culture.
Mark the Cyborg for Canadian $6.99 says, Uche, as an Italian kid who used to box, the racism in Raw was justified. So there you go. Chris Stanley. What was that?
I loved it. I thought it was hilarious.
Fucking hilarious. I grew up on Eddie Murphy, on listening to that cassette tape over a Delirious and everything. Just it was on.
Can you imagine what they would do to a Richard Pryor in today's age? What? They would wreck Richard Pryor. That motherfucker wouldn't even be able to get through his first 10 minutes of his set.
Nope. The world is kind of worse off without him and George Carlin in the world. I miss those guys a lot.
Yep.
So Gary et al., are they really going to put Brie in Star Wars? Asked Chris Stanley for $5. Yes, I think they might.
If they don't, I'll be surprised.
I think I don't know if it's necessarily going to be a leading role or anything like that, but I do think she's going to be in it.
Yeah, it'll be like some bit part, like not cameo, but like maybe of like a 5 minute screen time part or something like that.
Hopefully she just get freaking murdered by some super masculine dude. That's what I'm hoping. Just have her chop her head off.
Like he holds a lightsaber with his penis.
Because it's prehensile.
Yes. Beef Supreme.
Don't assume his gender.
Beef Supreme FTT $4.99 have to hold SJWs to the same standards they impose, or this crud will continue forever. Yep. And that whole high road stuff, I mean, you don't want to be the one to start it, but as far as the cancel culture is concerned, if like that reporter we were just talking about who dug up the guy's tweets from when he was 16, fair game then. You kick the hornet's nest, you get the consequences. Metallica cancels show. Hetfield re-enters rehab, says Echo Base Network 199. That's sad. Thank you for the $1.99. I know Hetfield's had major alcohol problems from day one. That sucks. Comrade Commodore for $5. He just flexes. Cancel Jeremy for $5. This just in: Dave Thomas and Rick Moranis apologized to all Canadians for perpetuating stereotypes. Offer Wilson beer and jelly donuts as a recompense.
Holy shit!
Sorry.
They're still doing the waffle stuff in the comments. Oh my god!
We'll be able to get to it in just a second here. Brad Savage for $4.99. Have any of you seen the Jeff Dunham special on Netflix? I absolutely loved how it exposes SJW logic. No, but I will, Brant. I will watch it probably tonight.
Bill Burr was another great. He did a great stand up. You know, it's. I think it's cool that they're all getting going back to their roots and actually calling out all this garbage as it's happening in real time. But I mean, again, you gotta thank Dave Chappelle for that, because Dave Chappelle is the one who his special, and some people have told me, oh, Bill Burr's special was funnier. Bill Burr is funny. I love Bill Burr, but Bill Burr is a disciple of the Dave Chappelle tree. Like, he comes from Dave Chappelle's lineage of comics, and he was on Chappelle's show before he was Bill Burr, and he was an extra on Chappelle's show. And I like that. I love his humor, and I love that Dave kind of started this very recent trend of the pushback, the actual celebrity pushback against the cancel culture, because I mean, they tried to do it to him when he stopped Chappelle's show in 2004 with, this before we even knew what cancel culture was. They tried to paint him as a guy who lost his mind and ran away to Africa when he just said that he wasn't going to let people take control of the show he was trying to do. He gave them back their $50 million and told them to go fuck themselves, and then left to go kick it with people who didn't give a fuck about him being a celebrity. They just liked hanging out with him.
And that's the thing where you have to have sympathy, and that's what you call fucking principles. And that's why I love Dave Chappelle. And
people waited for him to come back. They waited patiently for Chappelle to come back because they knew he was going to do it his way.
Right.
He plays all the time in San Francisco, and you never know when, because they're usually surprise shows when he's going to work out some new material. I gotta catch the next one, man. Comedy is in such a bad place. It needs him. Most of it really does suck. It's like this weird, ironic, like not
it's not funny.
There's this strange, ironic, weird, freaking like Twitter, Tumblr humor that's going on out there that I don't even understand. And then there's Orange Man Bad. It's like,
well, a lot of it is what SJWs are trying to pass off as humor, is like saying something kind of funny, but they're telling the truth. Or not the truth, but they're saying
their
stuff
truth.
that they want. Their truth. Yeah, exactly. Their truth. And it's like you're not making a joke. There's no punchline. And that's kind of the thing. It's if you could ever tolerate, go watch some like the feminist comedians, because their stuff is just so dreadful. It is so dreadful. There are absolutely zero jokes.
I'll watch some. I'll actually, because I might be able to get some material. I know there's one that Crowder always brings up that has like 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, and it's like got a 20, and it's like an Australian comic. And
I have her name. That's like one of my videos I'm going to be working on, is the whole thing with cancel culture and comedy. And this is probably going to take me some time because I've been doing a lot of research into it. But it's
you have to take breaks so you don't murder yourself while watching.
Yeah, well, it's part of it is like, where the fuck do I start? Because I mean, a lot of this really started coming up with when crap, I'm totally blanking on her name. Sarah Silverman, she got canceled from that movie, and she was talking about from the thing that happened from the Sarah Silverman show back in 2007 during her episode of Face Wars, where she does like legit blackface. It wasn't like darkening of her skin, but it was if you watch the episode, it's actually pretty funny. But she's like still apologizing for the sketch, and it's like this came out in 2007, and if anyone had a problem with it, there was a lot of black people on set because they're in the show, and if anyone had a problem with it, they would have said something to her, and I'm pretty sure people would have walked off the set. I don't know. Maybe it did happen, and they still did it anyway. But it's just really interesting where comedy is. And like I said, watch that special. Can we take a joke? It really kind of is. It's very interesting seeing it now, based off of what we know now. I'm sorry, I'm kind of exhausted, guys. But yeah, 2015 is when it came out. It's pretty damn interesting.
Well, you want to know, like, just from a black person's perspective, at least from my perspective. I won't even say from a black person, just from my perspective. I don't give a fuck about no blackface. I never have. I don't care about blackface. I never have cared about blackface. The only people who get mad about blackface are white folks.
white people in the View.
You're pulling up blackface from fucking 35 years ago in a black and white picture from somebody's high school fucking Halloween fucking party? Who gives a fuck? Motherfucker has got their face painted black with fucking suspenders on and is sucking and jiving on video. I would care. It's a still picture of a motherfucker with a black face on. I don't care, motherfucker.
But notice how they didn't cancel Trudeau. They went after all these other people, but Trudeau, he apologized. It's fine because he's on our side.
They try to call it brown face. They try to call it darkening. Yeah.
But they go after Jennifer Aniston because she has a spray on tan.
They darkened her with Photoshop. I mean, what the fuck are they talking about?
Yeah, it's fucking stupid.
Echo Based Network for $4.99 says, thoughts on Jeremy John's video about Bob Iger and George Lucas. I think it's the single best video I've seen all year. Is he fandom menace? He is now, and I haven't seen it, but I trust Jeremy's opinion on this.
It is, it's incredible.
I saw it today for the first time,
Demagini for $2 says,
Demagini.
Sorry. No, it's my show. It's fucking Demagini.
Racist.
Fucking your name right. No. For $2, Demagini. Hail panel, I literally just ate 2 waffles.
That's fantastic.
This chat is crazy.
Obi-Wan for 27883 for $5. It's Daddy Waffle happening. Is global warming the village again? What the fuck? Hangs head. Worst villain ever, or hashtag worst villain ever. Hashtag save the chairs. Nova Zero for Australian $5. For my Mondos out there, who's a Crusader or a Neo Crusader? Death Watch are cucks. Remember, no one. So none of that nonsense. There you go.
It's pretty funny.
Proper Jeremy Waffle Texas Ranger for $2. Candace Marie $2. What's the best topping on waffles? MOAR waffles. What's the
More waffles?
I don't know. Like looking for an acronym.
Apologize. It's all my fault.
Kid Menu Jeremy. It's fine with me.
Kid Menu for money, Gary. Yeah.
Oh, it's so terrible. Kid Menu Jeremy for $2. Andromeda?
Mass Effect Andromeda. No,
It's like the words will not make it through my. It's weird. Andromeda waffle, 9.5 waffles, Apocalypse waffle. Rogan's Triggered was before Chappelle's special.
I was gonna bring that up that he
Chappelle's special was before Chappelle's special. Did you watch his previous one? I mean, he pushes the envelope in all of them.
Well, I think also Chappelle had a bit of a wider impact because of the timing. As much as Rogan did Triggered a couple of years ago, I think the resonance is really being felt now more so than it was back in, I guess, 2015 when it came out.
To have Chappelle go so hard on Jussie Smollett, that was a huge thing. That was a huge thing.
And again, man, I mean, Chappelle is one of the juggernauts of comedy, and the last special he had was a few years back. So it was great timing because all this shit was getting to a boiling point right when that special dropped. Like there'd been so many different little instances of SJW just madness, and people were starting to get like, I mean, even now it's I think there's beginning to be a little look in the mirror from people who are in that, kind of in that circle of SJW. They're starting to kind of look in the mirrors just slightly right now because of now they're receiving backlash for this shit now from not just people like us, but they're starting to receive it from people who have real sway. Because it's like again, look at what Warner Brothers did about Joker. They're like, no, we're not going to let y'all sit here and try and define our movie. We're banning y'all from even being able to interview, keeping y'all away from it so we can have a peaceful, prosperous premiere. But, Chappelle's special hit right at that moment. It's just something about when it hit.
Because things have been hitting critical mass for a while. I mean, comedy has been under attack, for at least 4 years.
Yeah.
Longer than that, actually. But you started seeing Sarah Silverman, who was pretty edgy, going, "Oh, I'm not going to do stuff to be offensive anymore." It's like, and that's really where you started seeing this death of comedy.
After she made her millions. That's the thing is the movie stars and the comedians are all of a sudden also it's hitting them financially. They're seeing that their jobs may be in jeopardy now, and maybe I shouldn't. When Sarah Silverman did what she did, she sold out every fucking comedian.
She did, absolutely. And it's the reason why her special got canceled, or her series, because it's critically unfunny. It's the reason why it's gone. It lasted 2 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
She wasn't straight up. She's not fun. The only thing she's funny at is being raunchy. She's not a gifted enough comedian to do comedy outside of raunch.
Yeah.
And she's kind of cute. That's got
she looked good. I can't front. I think she looked good.
Well, and I'm not like a super fan of hers. I mean, she's done some stuff I thought that's pretty funny, but she's not like my go-to comedian. She's just a really good example because of what's been happening with cancel culture and comedy.
She let herself get canceled.
She did, absolutely.
The Cinema Queen says, "Hi, Gary. Long time no see. Where are you? Hi, Comix. Where are you? I'm here. I haven't been gone. I haven't done a ton of Monday live streams because I'm trying to. I have this channel has grown so goddamn much. I have to like get business licenses and do all this crazy stuff, and then my office has been a nightmare. I got a new. It's the Monday live streams will be back after New York. Everything will be fine after New York. I'll be all caught up. Brant Savage for $1.99. Making waffles a donkey story. Gift Rider 66 for $2. SLJ already gave Brie his lightsaber. Samuel Jackson.
Yep. He did.
What?
Yeah.
That's
your hero.
Some picture about that.
What? What did he do?
Uche window in the house.
Samuel L. Jackson
is over.
New lightsaber to Brie Larson.
No.
Hopefully, it wasn't the lightsaber that said, "bad motherfucker" on it.
So depressing.
I bet you she loses it.
No, he didn't give her the Windu lightsaber, you son of a bitch. Something about her I just hate. And I don't want to say I hate somebody. I don't like to just say I hate a person because hate means that if I see you in the streets, I might run up on you. But something about that woman, it bothers me deep down inside. I just want to be like,
it's the smug expression that she constantly
has. She does not project a good personality, whether that's true or not. I don't know, but she's not charming. She comes off as, like Comix said, extremely smug. And I was doing research for my video this morning. I had to watch her Google thing one more time, and I've honestly only watched that once. And God, she comes off so. I don't know how anybody thought that, but I guess that plays well within Hollywood. It must, right?
I guess it has to. But anytime I see her talking, it's like I want to punch myself in the face.
Yeah,
it's less painful. It's less painful.
Just don't call her a little stiff or a bit unlikable. Otherwise you're just a raging misogynist. So,
whatever.
Yeah,
I've been called worse by better people.
I've been kicked out of homes better than this.
You're never fully dressed without a smile. Bob Garrison, Tommy.
It's like the
Tommy
worst thing you
John,
can say to a feminist.
Tommy John's friend from Karate Kid, Cobra Kai, just passed away in season 2. He had cancer in the show. Guess he did also in real life. Echo Base
That's
Network.
unfortunate.
Wow.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. Brother. Cancer sucks. Fuck cancer, man.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
My dad. One word, waffle. Alex Scholasher. Sorry if I screwed up. Schlosser. Okay. For $2. Thank you very much.
Trust me, I struggled on that one for a while. I even met him at Celebration. He finally had to, yeah.
Thank you, Alex. Jabberwaffle. Waffle-lot. Saturday Night Waffle. I like Kid Menu Jeremy. I like Waffle-lot. That's my favorite. For $2. Waffle-lot.
I saw somebody said, I think Black Waffle Moan or something like that. that one got me. That one got me.
That's epic.
I just blue waffled in my pants, says Buddy the Elf. Buddy the Elf, what's your favorite color? For $2. Gimp Rider 66 for $2. Butch Waffle and the Waffle Dance Kid. There you go. Nice. Brie Larson is the second name in my Death Note. As long as I'm out of there, buddy, we're good. Thanks for the $2. And Raptor GTA $2 and no waffles, nothing. I mean, no waffle statements or
It's a waffle.
big waffles and little pancakes. There you go. Big waffles and little daddies, or big daddies and little waffles.
God, this is so sounding like porn now.
Hidden waffles.
Big daddy.
Deep blue waffles.
Deep blue waffles.
God.
Hey, Gary, we have to eat at a Waffle House in New York now.
We are so eating at a Waffle House, dude.
No country for old waffles.
Oh, this is Spinal Waffle. Thank you, Kid Menu Jeremy. $2.
I'm getting it now. Jeremy Swig said,
"In a waffle far, far away."
Jeremy Swig says, "Ryan happening Waffle Outpost."
Behind the green waffle.
Okay, we can just start seeing the Devil and Miss Waffle, you know, or the Waffle and Miss Jones.
Debbie does waffles.
This is only like one part of the joke because we still have the daddy waffle happening. So there's the happening aspect where everybody's just was, you know, like it's happening, and the whole joke is the person that's on the stream is supposed to be like, whoa, what's happening? You know, it's like it's happening. You know, you're supposed to fool the person on the stream, and they're like, what is happening? So it's great.
Big happening in Daddy Waffle. See, Big Trouble in Little China, you can play with that all day long. So,
yeah.
All right, that's the end of the super chats, guys. We can get look at some regular chat a little bit, but we could probably let some people go because it's late. Man, we held strong tonight, friends. We had like over 1,400 people watching for a good long time there, even through the waffling. The Big Daddy Happening Waffling Part 2.
Mighty Morphin Power Waffles.
Mighty back waffles.
Brokeback Waffle.
Thank you, Kalia. That was great.
Saving Private Waffle.
I saw Waffles Can't Jump. I like that one.
Buckaroo Waffle.
Waffle into Darkness.
I talked to Muller earlier. Muller said he had Fringy with him, and he said if a couple spots open up to let him know. But I didn't want to bounce anybody or ask Gary to bounce anybody.
I'm about to hop off.
We're not going to bring Muller.
We're all about to bounce right now.
That'll be six more hours if we bring Muller on. So
was it Muller now? Oh, tell him tomorrow. Is that Muller? I'll tell Muller tomorrow.
I talked to him earlier. He said he was with Fringy, and he said if a couple spots open up, let him know. So, like I said, I didn't think you wanted.
I got to do my. I'm about to do my Rainbow Six Siege game stream.
Right on. Yeah. Why don't we start going around the horn so you guys could plug your channels? And Mahler, if you're listening, I'll be live tomorrow night doing a super chat square up. Join me then. Jeremy, you want to plug your little channel?
Well, everybody, and I don't mean it in an arrogant way because I'm a very, really nice guy. But no, in all seriousness, I don't want to plug Geeks and Gamers. I think most of you know Geeks and Gamers, but I do want to plug Mark the Cyborg. He is a contributor to Geeks and Gamers. Mark has been doing some amazing video game content on the channel. I don't know where he's at on subs, but he's closing in on 1,000 subs. So I'm dedicated to getting in there. It's Mark with a C, M-A-R-C, the Cyborg, all together as one word. He is Mark the Cyborg because he has a cybernetic leg. Because Geeks and Gamers has a disabled representation. In all seriousness, there he is in the chat right there, Mark the Cyborg. I've been so happy. I've been so happy with the content he's been providing for Geeks and Gamers. And, he's a really good guy. You're going to see more of him on some of our streams once I get back from New York. We're going to do more team streams. And Gary, thank you for being part of the team and making this Friday Night Tights kind of / Geeks and Gamers live stream happen every week. I'm honored to be part of it, buddy.
I just subscribed to Mark Cyborg. I hit the bell. He's at 911 subs. If everybody could give him a sub, that would be brilliant.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll drop a link to his channel in chat.
He said I'm the token cripple. Oh man.
I tell you, we have an incredible team at Geeks and Gamers, and I feel like I'm just one part of the wheel. And without everybody that we have, then we wouldn't be what we are. And it's just really cool to have the team we have. So I'm very proud to be part of this.
You're all right, Jeremy. I don't care what anybody says about you, especially Uche. Uche, what do you want to plug, sir?
I'm the observant lineman, but my YouTube page is actually under my first and last name. I decided not to go with any of the stage names. Actually, long story short, I had a check mark on my name. I changed it to the observant lineman. My check mark went away. I panicked, changed it back. I never got the check mark back.
That sucks.
Because I've been fucking hitting up YouTube like, yo, where the fuck is my check mark? I'm verified on Google. I got a check mark on Google. I got a check mark on Twitter. Fuck, give me my check mark on YouTube back.
Yeah, that's weird.
But no, the observant lineman, Uche Waneri. I'm about to head over to my channel now and do my Rainbow Six Siege stream. So that's going to be a few hours of gaming. So, but yeah, again, man, love being a part of the team. It's been amazing to get to know you guys, especially, having watched y'all's channels for so long. I really do enjoy jumping on the streams. I enjoy y'all's camaraderie and everything that we're doing. And the sky's the limit. So, I mean, that's pretty much everything I got to say.
Uche, thanks for coming on. I want to get you back on. Okay.
Bro, anytime, dude. Anytime.
Thank you.
Hey, at least you got to experience the Snyder side of him, so you know what to stay away from.
That's all right. Well, the Snyder, the BVS probably as much as you do. I mean, I still think it's bad, but
yeah,
I own it on Blu-ray. But I'm a comic book fan, so
look at him. Get you started.
Comix Division. What do you want to plug there, buddy?
I don't know, dude. I've been feeling like crap, so hopefully, I'm hoping whatever funk I have, I can kick it and actually put out a video next week. So
I hope so too.
Yeah, I've been feeling like crap for like the last 2 weeks. I'm surprised I actually made it to the stream tonight.
Well, I'm glad you're feeling better, man.
Yeah,
feel
thanks.
better. RK Outpost Ryan, who it's like watching a child. It's like watching one of your kids, grow up. Your little YouTube kids. It didn't seem like that long ago where Jeremy and I were talking to you and telling you should be a YouTuber. Look at you now.
Yeah, I know. It's pretty crazy. You guys both kind of said that to me. That was about 8 weeks ago or so, and all of a sudden here I am.
I didn't know Gary told you that aside or separate from me, because so apparently Gary told you, and then I told you, and I didn't, and that just speaks to you. Because it's not like he and I were trying to say it separately. Like it was just something that he decided on his own, and then I decided it. So that's really cool. I didn't know that initially, so that's great.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy, and I'm glad you guys said that to me, and you kind of gave me what I needed to get this thing going, and it's been going awesome. My channel, you can search my name, Ryan Kinnell, or search RK Outpost. You might find a couple hate videos up at top, but that's fine. You'll get to me eventually. But my channel, I focus mainly on Star Wars Expanded Universe stuff. I branch into comics a little here and there too, as well as just like current Star Wars stuff. But yeah, I actually just got monetized. I'm having a celebration stream on Sunday at 5 p.m. Pacific time. So Mark the Cyborg is actually going to be joining me for a while. We're going to be talking about the new release of Jedi Outcast on Switch and PS4. So everybody's welcome to join, and it should be an awesome time.
Oh, quick! If I can say real fast before, and I apologize for cutting in. What's up? What's up on Monday? Getting me monetized on Monday, fellas. I mean, yeah, I'm close.
Well, I know when Gary and I get back from, or we may can do it from New York, but for sure when we get back,
Monday's
we're gonna
open.
Well, yeah, but we're gonna be traveling. Is what I'm saying. Like Gary, like. Huh? You'll be home? Okay. Well, I'm gonna be on the road. But me and Gary are gonna go on your channel and do a live stream. And I think we can get the watch time up over there. So
we'll make it happen, Uche. For
Awesome.
sure.
We're all about helping the black people.
Yep. The white savior.
Motherfucker. I did my part too, motherfucker.
That's right. Drunk 3PO, man. Drunk 3PO, man. People give you shit. You know, it's I can't, for one, it's great if people are making hate videos about you guys and giving you shit. Now you're like ahead of the game. That's actually, it's a good thing. You got to see it as a good thing.
Oh yeah.
It means it's about that fucking shit that they did to you in that video.
Well, yeah. I mean, I wanted to, before you go 3PO, I want to make a kind of an announcement that hasn't been made yet, and that is that 3PO and Exaggeration Nation are going to be joining our social media team. And I don't know if you guys have seen Exaggeration Nation on Twitter, but Jesse is mother effing hilarious, and he's friends with 3PO. And I'm talking to 3PO about it. I said, is this guy really that nuts? You know, like he'll do anything, you know? So we got a plan. So we're gonna be doing some stupid shit on social media, and I am fucking excited, man. So, but 3PO has been a blessing to be on the team, man.
It's gonna be something, man.
Yeah. So
it's gonna be something that Jeremy might be like, I don't think.
You guys know the rule. You guys know the rule. Yeah, the rule is, for me, it's better to ask for forgiveness than permission. Yeah, you know, because at some point, and everybody on this team has gotten the call from me. I'm like, that was a little too far, you know. So it's part of it. So it's all good though.
Yeah. Woo. Well, you can catch me on Drunk 3PO, same channel name. Not on Twitter, sort of right now. But I'll be back, and you can see a lot of Galaxy's Edge videos, and because they're always giving me news to report about that terrible place, and a lot of Star Wars stuff. But Gary, man, thank you. Like again, I could say this about everybody. This was like it's like a kid's dream to be part of Geeks and Gamers and to be on Nerd Rod. I mean, it's just to get this in the mail was like, you know, a year ago it was like, are you kidding me? Now I'm like on the, it's amazing. It's amazing. And I was just telling, like on my live streams, because I mean, listen, in the grand scheme of things, whatever it is, you know, my 5,000 subscribers, you guys 120, 130, almost 200, Jeremy, which is awesome. And we did a live stream. I did a live stream yesterday, and everyone just kept asking questions like how did you get to go? How did you get to go on this channel? And how, like, they just keep asking these questions. And it's just like, you just work hard, man, and don't be a turd. And people just appreciate your work ethic and who you are as a person. And dreams do come true, man. It's awesome. It's awesome. I think the first time, Gary, you invited me, I think I got sick because I was so nervous that I was just like, I had like a little throw up box over here just in case. And
that's weird. That's weird. It is weird. It really is weird.
All of our friends would sit around and talk. I'm telling them, like, going on Gary's stream, not gonna believe this. And so it's just like, yeah, you're a liar. You're not gonna go on his stream. What are you gonna super chat him and so he can say your name? That's what you're gonna do. So it was like one of those things. And then honestly, it was I think my first video aired on Geeks and Gamers like a few weeks ago. It was I'm sorry I'm just celebbing out, so like that was a big deal for me. And I like I tell everyone, if I never get another one up, it was amazing that there's a couple there. So it's
that's what he tells the ladies.
Just right.
I couldn't pass that one up.
It's all right. It's all right.
I couldn't pass it up.
I'm part of the team. That's what happens.
But look at you now, man. You got a seat at the adults table.
I know. I know. It's awesome.
You got a chair that makes more money than you do when you
Yeah,
leave the
that's
stream, man.
Yeah. Think about that. Think about
Look,
that.
3PO.
Give him a dime.
All you need to do is
I'll make it
just
work.
do a live stream of your chair. You don't even need to be on camera. Just answer the super chats, and it could just be like a 2-hour stream of your chair, and that's it. You'll be raking in the fucking dough.
Yeah, it's I mean, and I get that drunk 3PO Jay. It's funny because I'm trying to start calling you Jay because we're at Disney and I'm like running around drunk.
I know. I'm like
Drunk!
turning
He's
around.
like,
I'm like,
bro, he's like, you can call me Jay. I'm like, it's better to call you scream drunk. But I appreciate you being so respectful of the fact that you're part of the team. But you just got to understand, man. I'm just as happy to have you here, and I'm just as honored to have you here. You're a good dude. You do a lot of good things behind the scenes in terms of charity. You do a lot of outreach work that you don't necessarily promote. There are things you do promote, and there's things that I know that you do that you don't promote. And that's the type of person I want at Geeks and Gamers. There's a lot of things we do behind the scenes that I don't need everybody to know. We don't need to promote shit because all these fucking losers want to sit there and say shit about me because I don't, virtue signal online to tell you that I'm a great guy, because I'm not a great guy. I'm just a normal guy. I'm a normal human being with flaws. I make mistakes, and I don't need to go on social media and on my channel every day to tell you about the things that I do behind the scenes to make myself seem like a better person. We do what we do. We want to feel good about it. Yeah. And I want to help people, and that's fine. But you and Ryan and Uche and, Gary and everybody that's on the team, it's just awesome to be part of a team because that's all what I want. I'm a sports guy. I like being on a team. I don't want to be an individual. I could have had my one channel with my name on it and just been doing that. That's not what I want. And it's harder to do the team aspect. I don't sleep. I never watch TV. I don't get to do anything. This is it right here. 2 phones. This is it. People think I'm a goddamn drug dealer. I'm not. I'm like, no, I'm a social media addict, but I'm not a drug dealer. But my phone never stops. I apologize for all the messages I've been missing recently, but it's great to be part of this team. So,
but you know what? It's for whatever it's worth. This has been it's been a kid's dream for me to hang out with you guys. And I'll ride the wave until I can't ride it no more. So I'm just enjoying the journey. Like, you have no idea. I'm enjoying the journey. And when I get them hoodies and them hats with Jesse, are you kidding me? The commercials that are coming?
Oh, it's going to be so good. It's going to be so good.
13 to R-rated. I don't know. We'll see.
Oh,
hey, that's what we do.
And because I don't think he asked for a subscription. So go subscribe. And, he's doing great for an up-and-coming channel. And he'll be back. You got an open invitation, dude. So while everybody was showering 3PO with love, we got some more super chats. Hey, I'll get through these. How do you qualify to be in this show? Echo Base Network for $1.99. You ask. You can just ask. You can just say. Usually, it's just me thinking of somebody who I haven't had on the show in a while, and you'll get some random message going, dude, come on the show. So I'll bring you guys on.
No purity test involved.
There's no gatekeeping or purity test. Just ask. Yeah. We got to get, there's somebody else we need to get on the show here. We'll get to her in a second. Candace Marie for $5. Well done. You guys are all great. Thank you, Candace. You're great.
Thank you, Candace.
She's awesome, man.
She really is. She's really awesome.
Kid Menu Jeremy, Waffle Queen of Tots for $2. That's pretty good. The Crow for $5. I just blocked Hello Greedo for counting Ray as our heroes. What the fuck? You go get him, The Crow, for $5. You know what? I'll block him too because I don't even know who he is. I just know what Jeremy talks about him. Sounds like a dipshit.
He's a passive aggressive beta.
Oh,
so
Mary Mayhem for $1.99 super chat. So Gary will say my name. Mary Mayhem. Mary Mayhem. Mary Mayhem.
has a
Subscribe
nice
to Mary
ring to it.
Mayhem. It does.
Mary's
She has.
awesome.
She is awesome. She's got a good channel. I like her intro. So subscribe to Mary Mayhem, and we will get you on if you want to come on, Mary. I know you have a show on Friday, right? But so I don't know. We'll figure something out. Nina Fabiano for the final one for the night. $5, adding to the shower of fandom love. Thank you, Nina. You are a shining light in the fandom menace. Always have been, always will be. Gentlemen, thanks for joining Friday Night Tights. We're going to end it here. It's 9:38 on the West Coast. Thanks, everybody, for hanging in there. Everybody, don't forget to go to nerdrotic.com for my live stream schedule. I'll update it one of these days. And don't forget the Inquisition is on my channel, 6 p.m. Sunday night. Doomcock and I will be putting Access Media on trial. All right. Catch you guys later. Yeah, we're fucking pissed.
Peace out. Peace out.
See ya.
See you guys.